Alright. Today we're going to play some more King of the Castle. Assuming we can get enough people to join, that is. In the description I will put the point at which the games actually start to make it easier to find. I don't know how long it's going to take, but we will try. If it doesn't happen, I guess I'll just delete the VOD. Ooh. We'll go Barons of the March, Counts of the East, and, well, go Barons, Chiefs, and Patricians, maybe. Something like that. I've been playing a lot of this game recently, but I have yet to be able to get enough people together to start one of my own. Which is the one bad thing I can say about the game. Is it requires you to actually have 4 people to even start. Otherwise, I've had a ton of fun with it in other people's chats. Just don't know how well it's going to go. Waiting on people to join up on this. It'll take quite a bit of patience. I can't get at least 3. That's all it needs, 3 others. I've seen some interesting stuff last night when I was playing. Someone ended up becoming a vampire werewolf hybrid as the king. Because they had the counts send them into a vampire when they were already turned into a werewolf. They still lost the game, but it was an interesting end. Because the Counts technically won that game. I still have yet to see a Loyalist win in any of the attempts I've done in this game. It's doing pretty well in the review so far. I got a 92% on Steam. And I've had a blast every time I've played it. I mean, it's a very simple game, but still a lot of fun. Yeah, this was one of the sentiments I have. I like this game, but I wish you could add bots to the game because sometimes there isn't any other players to play with. For a smaller streamer, without a whole lot of friends outside of streaming, It's kind of hard to set up a game. Unless you just want to join a party game or join somebody else's chat. That's easy enough. It was really fun, but being the king is hard. I appreciate some additional methods for the king to incentivize cooperation with the nobles, executions, royal bribes, tax breaks, court positions, anything to help convince the nobility. Yeah, I agree. I've seen the crown win once. I played 10 or 12 games. This is the ultimate party game. Whether you stream it and play with viewers or play it with your friends on the couch, there's an incredible amount of variety in each session. Combination of different regions and how they interact with each other. It means that no two games are the same. Great pricing for literally endless hours of fun. Yeah, it's like $5. And free for anybody who wants to join it, just as chat. You don't have to buy the game. You can just join somebody else's. We recommended to have hours and hours of flawless event built roleplay, minimum of 4 players. Just cool to have 2 on each faction too. I wish the devs add some more. This has great potential. I think the game works best between, say, 2 or 3 on each team to maybe 7 or 8. I think anything beyond that, it gets a little bit chaotic, and then you get a whole lot of people in that just don't really even seem to care one way or the other. It gets a little chaotic. Yeah, what's this negative review say? Played the game with some friends. The first few hours are really nice and we enjoyed ourselves a lot, however, after having had multiple playthroughs, we found it lacked some balance. The balance for smaller parties is quite poor. If there's an imbalance in players per faction, that faction has always won. My playthroughs due to money. Also, the king is usually outplayed right from the start. We've only had one game where the king did not immediately fail due to RNG. Additionally, we were quite bothered by the fact that in 3 out of 5 times we would encounter tasks that had already had their conditions met. Yeah, it happened. Resulting in almost instant advance to that faction. Now, sometimes it puts a delay on it though. It puts like maybe a 3 or 4 season delay. The only thing I've seen is we actually had a game-breaking bug where they couldn't find the pin for the continuing in the events. They looked behind all the flags and everything. There was just no way to advance, and it wasn't the end of season. We actually had to end that session. But it is still just a brand new game, so I imagine they'll improve that in the future. Another small thing is disconnects. We have had several instances where one of us would disconnect and would then be unable to join as their character. Really? I haven't heard of that. Instead, accidentally joining the other factions. How does that work? I thought you were stuck as one faction as soon as you join. Permanently for the rest of that session. Unless they're just talking about when you first start a game. Then yeah, you can be different factions every time the king presses back and forward again. You can end up in a different faction. I've never seen it happen during an already running dynasty though. think this game has a lot of potential and is fun to play for a while. To keep itself interesting, it should definitely do with some balance improvements. Yeah, I have noticed that if the king is smart and they have, say, like the patricians in, they can kind of ignore their defiance and just completely tax them every round. Let their defiance go all the way up because their military isn't strong enough to actually rebel. And yeah, the North starts with a really strong military. So if you end up having events that have them rebel very quickly, it's hard to counter that. And yeah, like they were saying, some of the events have a tendency to go as soon as you take the task, you already have it completed. That doesn't always mean you get it, but it definitely helps. Only fairly priced, can play with as many people as you want, and it's essentially a king's dilemma. Range experience is exactly as it's advertises to be. A lot of fun, and I really like the storylines that go on. I'm playing it on Twitch all day, and it's tons of fun. Can't wait to play with some friends. Very good game to play with friends. I haven't been able to play Monarch yet, but in two of the streams, I had such a blast that I bought it on launch day. An absolutely incredibly beautiful and fun game. I love yelling and rabble-rousing as a noble. I love scheming, love the art and customization, love the music, great all around. Yeah, that's pretty much been my experience too. Like I said, it's a very simple game, but it's a lot of fun. Best keep everything balanced. Chat destroys me in 40 minutes by draining my treasury. 2.5 hours later, chat destroys me by all rebelling at once and waging wars amongst themselves. 100 out of 10, some of the most fun I've ever had. Yup. Yeah, you definitely don't run it as the king expecting to win, that's for sure. Because it doesn't happen often. What inspiration from King's Dilemma board game? Looking for something digital I could play long term with friends. Don't design for large groups of streamers. Need to be separate rules for the small groups and streamers. Not balanced in a way that is fun for small groups that will communicate with each other. There are 4 people on a monarch, each faction gets 1 vote and the same starting money. Gives one faction double the money and vote influence. Right, 4 people on a monarch, I agree with that. Yeah, for each additional person a team has over another, they have more money. But on that same token, if you blow your money, and you go on to a second dynasty, then you have none. I mean, for a single game, yeah, it's pretty easy to break the balance. But I'd say over the length of a dynasty, it could balance out. The auction phase really doesn't have a huge effect on most games I've seen, though. Like, sometimes it gets you that 1 point that you need to get your scheme done, but most of the time it's just a point closer. I mean, it's not the thing that makes or breaks your scheme. And in a smaller game, I've also noticed that people spend a lot less, which is smart. Because if you blow your entire bankroll, then you've got nothing when another one comes up. It's a lot easier to get things at a discount because you don't have as many people to fight with. Well, I said there's like a balance of the amount of people that you have in a game. I think that makes it work best. Because if you have too many, those things, those become chaotic as well. I got people blowing entire bankrolls on it. But it is what it is. People are going to do what they're going to do. Anyway, keep reading this. Very non-competitive in small groups. Yeah, that's what I was just saying. Getting a blind auction for non-streaming should be a setting for us. That's actually that's something that could definitely implement. The blind auction as maybe a checkbox option. I mean, there's a lot of potential for this game to do different things like that. That's just like a really good idea that they could implement probably pretty easily. Oh look, they responded to that one. Keep things balanced, you'd either need 3 nobles or 6 nobles. Minimum, the 4 minimum is a double group. And exactly 4 can be a little trouble. Not a big deal. 7 people as the only other option can be rough. Playing as the monarch's hard and you have little power at the start of the game to impact the choices. There's little incentive to work with the king for any of their goals. For example, if stability, authority, or treasury drops to 0, the king loses and one of the houses elected NPC is just elected the next king, so the randomish house is winning. Range could have been if the kingdom collapses, no faction wins, an unknown person is put in charge, and the nobles lose wealth between rounds. Since the king can't vote on what happens, just limit the votes of the nobles, or the monarch team wins in a collapse somehow. Silver have reported. Welcome, welcome. Silver reported that several abilities get unlocked that give the king more impact in the game. But if this doesn't appear till much later, you're playing at the beginning of the game with little impact, which feels very depressing. The most bothersome things I find in the game is there are no settings for adjusting the game to your liking. Yeah, I'm sure they'll add that stuff later. There's a lot of things they could do to modify this game. Some of the things that should be set are King's powers are silly. King's choice, King recommends this one. Very pointless to non-streamers. Noble votes are hidden. Could be a setting option. Yeah. Instead of a power. That really doesn't do a whole lot for you as a streamer. It's more for party games. Next monarch isn't a named player from the faction that is randomly selected, created in PC, rather than the noble leading the charge. Customizing your personal monarch, they are only alive for the first round of the dynasty. True, true. Here's the response from the developers. Hi Siege, we're sorry to hear King of the Castle wasn't for you. We wanted to respond to some of the specific points in your review. Built and designed for large groups and streamers, there need to be separate rules for the small groups and streamers, not balanced in a way that is fun for small groups that will communicate with each other. We have designed intentionally for both large and small groups, but getting the balance right for both is an ongoing design challenge. Community feedback is going to be a huge part of solving this problem. So far, looking at our reviews, we're really happy to see that most people are having fun with their 4-player games, but we're taking note of feedback and we aim to continually improve this experience. Small games where one region has more nobles have definitely come up before. So we'll take a look at that. We found in playtesting that if one region has more players, the other two would work together with the monarch to counterbalance this. But we'll think about how to incentivize and balance this better. Against the monarch is hard and you have little power at the start of the game to impact the choices, and there is very little incentive to work with the king for any of their goals. A large part of being a monarch is the social aspect, going and convincing nobles to vote with you. Being a monarch is intentionally difficult. We want each of the regions to have a fair chance of winning as well, after all. Yeah, I've only seen it happen one time that the monarch won in the 12 or 13 games that I've played in other people's chats. You definitely don't play the monarch to win. It is a very rough experience. Alright, thank you for the follow. No, it didn't. Okay, no, it was in there where I couldn't read it. And personally, I don't even play the game to win. I've only won once. I've won, I think, about 3 or 4 rounds. Yeah, at least 4 rounds. But it's fun either way, even if you lose. I mean, it's a good game, and the community's pretty good so far too. I mean, it's not toxic at all that I've seen. People will even do a little bit of role-playing type stuff. They have a lot of fun with it. What does he say? For what it's worth, in playtesting we found that a sufficiently skilled monarch can use the laws of the land to win over half the time. Really? Huh. I haven't seen that in any of the games I've watched so far, or been a part of. Maybe they just aren't that skilled at it yet, I don't know. It's not the sort of game that I would expect to have a toxic community, right? Yeah, it just wouldn't work very well if there's a toxic community. I mean, people would definitely be turned off by it if it were. However, the learning curve is steep, and we're looking at ways to address that. I mean, the game's pretty new. Makes sense that there aren't too many amazing monarch players. Well, that's fair. I think we might start seeing more over time. Yeah, one of the ones I watched, one of the last ones that I was with, they were actually pretty good at it. They played a close game with the nobles, for sure. But yeah, most of them are just, you know, just playing it just to play it and to stream it. They're not, like, super great at it yet. I mean, after you play so many times, you actually start to know what the options will do. Some of the options don't really tell you the full extent of what the choice is going to make. I've seen a lot of nobles and a lot of rulers make mistakes with their choices. If stability, authority, or treasury drop to 0, the king loses, and one of the house's elected NPCs just elected the next king, so the randomish house is winning. If the kingdom's stats drop to 0, the game ends, and a successor vote occurs between the 2 regions with the highest cumulative stats, and the player heir, if they have one. I've heard a lot of requests for changing the claimant system. This is a big job, and may take some time. Developers have reported that several abilities get unlocked that give the king more impact in the game. If this doesn't appear till much later, you are playing the beginning of the game with little impact, which feels very depressing. It's true, at the very beginning of the game, if things go wrong quickly, the king doesn't have a whole lot of control over it. But again, you don't play the king to win. Their response was, your new laws unlock on the 3rd season turn, and every 4 seasons after that. Like we said above, we're tracking the difficulty of the game for Monarch as a potential concern, and we're hoping that future updates will turn this around. Also, our aim with the Monarch's choice was to have a law that wasn't that powerful. It can be replaced later on in the game. Think of it like your weak starter weapon against the nobles. We'll look at the balance of this, however. A list of bothersome things I find in the game is there are no settings for adjusting the game to your liking. Welcome, welcome. The reply was, we love these suggestions. Something to add here that applies to all of the above. For a very small team making an ambitious game, the next few weeks are inevitably going to have to focus on bug fixing rather than making huge changes to balance. So please be patient with us while we get around to addressing your concerns. That's true. I have seen a bug already where they couldn't continue the game. It was just a great game-breaking bug. Key to being a good monarch is basically tyranny. It helps. But hey, if you can get your chat to go along with what you want to do without being a tyrant. Hard to do, but there are options. Yeah, that game-breaking bug, yeah. He couldn't find the pin for it anywhere. He even scrolled in and looked around behind the flags, because sometimes they put them like right behind the flags for the different groups. Still couldn't find it. And that completely ended his dynasty, just because there was soft locked. Which is a shame, but I've only seen it happen once out of the 10 or 12 games I've played. We'll get some more reviews while we wait. Some of the people in the reviews do have good suggestions for the game, and I hope they do listen to the feedback and do some minor tweaks. I think being able to start in a bot game would be probably one of the easiest tweaks they could make to the game. That would make it a little smoother. That way you're not waiting in like this. Not everybody starts with a group of 4 people ready to rock and roll on this. It would be cool. A king loyalist faction. The rebellion starts, the loyal people can join the king. It kind of works like that, but you could still backstab the king. I have yet to see a loyalist win in all the games I've played. We were close, we had 4 victory points. I have no idea what happens if you do get the 5 victory points. Whether it just kicks them out and ends the rebellion and goes back to a normal game, or what happens. I truly have no clue. Just came from 5 victory points as the loyalists or rebellion. Rebellion, they win unless someone else meets their scheme goals at the same time. Scheme takes priority. Oh, it's a loyalist win, really. Defiance resets to 0. Huh. Really? That's interesting. And the loyalists actually win the game, or... Ability goes up, authority goes up, and all non-rebels get better stats. Huh. That's interesting. Nope, the game continues almost like the start, giving the king more chance to win. Right, that's kind of how I figured it would go. So it just resets the Defiance back down, and the game continues. Interesting. That was the one instance I really haven't seen yet. Like I was saying earlier, though, I did see where the king became a werewolf, and then also the counts met their goals, and it also became a vampire as well. So yeah, vampire-werewolf hybrid. A very unique situation. Counts got the win, but it was a very funny game, I thought. Let's see, we'll read another review. Great game to bring together tons of people and get them all yelling at each other. Very true. I got this for free by winning a cosmetic contest during their alpha testing period. Team Next Best. However, at 5 USD, it is a very good deal, as it is a great party game and or great for Twitch interaction. This game allows your viewers and or friends to make decisions to take you down as the monarch, which they usually do. There are many different outcomes, and while the graphics are 1D, this game does not lack stories or anything. Definitely a great party game. Really good game. I would like to suggest this to anyone who likes a good party game. Find enough autistic people, the RP is real fun. I agree. I have seen some RP. It does get pretty funny. The RP is definitely real. Great party game where everyone is trying to screw everyone else over. And great character customization for the price, it's so worth it. A long one for $5 is an absolute steal. Had so much fun with just 4 other people. Wow. The immense amount of storylines and plots the game throws at us was comical. The events themselves were also pretty comical, especially since they involved the characters that we were playing. The game lasted about 1.5 hours with my 5-player party. That's actually faster than I normally see it go. I see usually 2 to 3 hours. Seems to be about the average for the games. Apparently being the king is hard. That full player party is unbalanced. I'll agree on both points, but I still had fun with 4 nobles, and in the end I ended up winning as king. One thing my friends didn't like is that when someone joins in the middle of the game, they get 1,000 as the starting balance, which can unbalance the game if Team A and B have one person, but then this new person joins Team C, resulting in that team having a stacked and unfair wallet. Yeah, that's true. That can be a problem. But if another joins right behind it, it just immediately becomes a non-issue. And I don't think the auctions really have a biggest effect on the game. Sometimes it'll get you the 1 point you need for meeting your goal, but usually it just gets you like 1 point closer. Usually not the thing that brings you over the edge. And usually it's some choice that adds like 4 or 5 points into something and just really throws it off. because people haven't played a whole lot of the game yet and they don't know exactly what all the choices do. But the game is amazing, the concept is exceptional, and I love betrayal games. Hope the game gets new updates, new regions, new events. About constructive criticism, just 2. After a few matches, some events appear more often than others. Maybe it is some percentage of rare events, but sometimes this makes playing with the same group of people repetitive. Playing as a king is quite challenging. I understand that the idea is that it seems like a game of one against all, but I still couldn't see any king take the victory in any game. I try my best to win one game as the king someday, but as the region's scheme is more dependent on them even, it is easier for them to help each other or not. Yeah, that is the most common complaint I've seen about the game, is that the king is hard to win with. And I myself have only seen one. Just one recommendation, maybe allowing the community to make unofficial translations of the text would be something interesting. I know it is very expensive to make translations of games with a lot of text. I think that the Jackbox Party, probably the most famous game of the same style, OTC Party Games, has no translation in any of the packs. I still hope I can help and play a game translated into TTBR for my friends who do not understand English very well, can play without me having to translate all the phrases. Anyway, thank you very much for making an amazing game, and I'm looking forward to the new updates. I could see that. I think they should have like an official team do it though, because you never know whenever somebody's just throwing text into your thing as a mod, what they're going to put in it. And that could lead to other issues. Just like I've seen some games of Jackbox where people just put in the most foul things you could imagine. And it just kills it, you know? I mean, it's funny for them, but for everybody else, it's just like, why? So immature. Fantastic game, had me and my friends crying with laughter. Yep. One couch co-op game. I would, however, like game mode made for smaller amounts of people, like 2 to 4 instead of needing 4 to 24. Maybe mode where the king is an AI, or a way to create AI nobles. Yeah. Yep, that's the second most common thing I've seen among the feedback for this game. That it needs the ability to have a few AI players just to get it going, and that the king is too hard to win with. Seems to be the general consensus. East region is a dark pit, never trust them. Game is really fun. Being the king is hard. I'd appreciate some additional methods for the king to incentivize cooperation with the nobles, executions, royal bribes, tax breaks, court positions, anything to help convince the nobility. Another one oh, that's a lot of points. Another one the developers responded to. I'll just go down to their response. This is very long. Thank you so much for the kind words. We need more feedback like yours if we're going to turn that 9 out of 10 into a 10 out of 10. Some of your points are more feasible for us than others. Remember that we're a very small dev team, and though we'll try our best, I ask you to bear with us. Our focus for the next few weeks will be on bug fixing rather than new features. That being said, let's take a look at your points one by one. Replayability. This is essential for the game. Whilst the description boasts 950 unique events and 80 possible endings, of the 4 complete runs I've completed, I have seen numerous repeated events with the exact same dialogue and choice options. You might count 1, maybe even 2 being coincidental. Started to feel stale in parts, even by playthrough 2 and 3. Beyond the events that are absolutely required, marriage, heir, establishing goals, etc., the quests need more variety. Even the goals of each faction started to repeat way too soon in my playthroughs. After playthrough 4, I had 3 to 4 include thieves who wanted to use ice giants to usurp the king, as well as other factions having repeated goals that include the same dialogue. Becomes stale in some of those moments way too fast. When the quests are varied and different, let their game shine. Yeah, I've seen that quest quite a few times myself, where they have the ice giants overthrow. I also seen another bug where the Grandies, they had 2 of the same goal to pick at the start, and none of their goals were particularly appealing for the situation that we had. I was on that team too. We also had an event where one Grandie ended up against another Grandie somehow, and none of the choices were particularly good for us because of that. Let's see the response to that. Despite the huge number of events in the game, the nature of RNG is such that you will inevitably encounter the same stories multiple times. To try to help with this, we've made sure that each storyline can go in radically different directions, but you'll be more likely to see the same events if everyone votes for the same outcomes, alright? We've heard this feedback loud and clear from multiple sources, however, so it's a design challenge we're committed to solving over the next few updates. We'll definitely add more schemes and events, but these additions are likely to be a drop in the bucket compared to the number already in the game. We're going to consider further solutions as well. One possibility we're looking at is trying to make the essential events, heirs, guards, etc. more varied after the first playthrough. Okay. Essential events. The essential events need some new dialogue variety. By game 3, I was bored to tears having to go through the marriage and heir dialogue. It's fun the first time, but after that, the lack of alternative dialogue or slightly different choices left me loathing getting to those bits to read it all again for the 3rd or 4th time. Adding some dialogue or option variety would go an extremely long way in keeping those parts of the game fresh. Your response to point 1. We're already looking into this. Meaningful choices. Also, I love how quests can unfold in a number of different ways, often in ways you don't expect. It feels like the backbone part of the story, marriage, heir, defining goal, lack meaningful choice. Welcome, welcome. Just waiting on enough people to get in here and reading some of the reviews of the game. Where was I? Description of the king's potential wives are always the same, and normally only one makes any sense to pick most of the time. The same when choosing personal bodyguards. It would be so much more interesting if they had randomized traits, both positive or negative, as some don't feel like viable options anyway. Having the count present, bodyguards who can't fight but can do poetry is really disappointing, and it's not really a viable or sensible option. Hello, welcome, welcome. There has to be more variety and more randomness to keep it all fresh. We actually have enough people to start now? I'm good. How about you? Let's see if it'll let us start. I'm not sure whether the other person who's originally here has left. It will let me start. Okay. Path to victory. Imagine the first few years of your reign are the most difficult. If you're new and unproven, the nobles of the council will scheme against you, hoping to kick you off the throne and put their own puppet claimant in your place. Oh no. To defeat their schemes, you must secure an heir and prove that you're worthy of the crown by completing an ambition. My question is this. When you die, how do you hope the kingdom will remember you? Here I set my goal. So... go for... military. We'll see how that goes. A warrior king is sure to be remembered fondly, if he wins more battles than he loses. I suggest over the next few years you focus on improving the kingdom's overall military as much as possible. Once you have an heir, I'll return to discuss how your ambition is progressing. Good luck, Your Majesty. Yeah, I figured that's probably a pretty solid choice, having the barons and the chiefs in the game. They usually have that as a mission. Of course, you guys would probably not pick it, just to spite me, but that's okay. Now that you're the king, your first duty is to meet with the Council of Nobles. Nobles hail from all across the kingdom, the wintry north, wealthy coast, and of course the bleak mark. Nothing sexier than full plate armor. Introduce yourself to the chiefs of the north. Keep a creature of the forest. Good luck in the days ahead, Your Majesty. You'll need it, dealing with us lot. Lord Patrician Iolith. A pleasure, Your Serene Highness. I hope to see our kingdom prosper and grow wealthy under your reign. Introduce yourself to the Barons of the March. Baron, it's Kaiser Waifu. Hail and well met, Your Majesty. Under your leadership, we'll whip this kingdom into shape. With that, the introductions are done. Council Hall immediately fills with raised voices as the nobles argue with each other and demand your favor. You sigh and sit back. Is this what the council is like? No wonder your father told you to avoid the throne at all costs. In the coronation, here's your first choice. Nobles? Your Majesty, I've scheduled your coronation to take place in a week's time. Why the hurry? Delaying longer would make the nobles restless. And when nobles get restless, they take their daggers and look for the nearest back. Very well then, what must I do? As is tradition, the council will decide what happens at your coronation. Get this over with then. Now we call the nobles in. Alright. None of these goals are particularly helpful to me. Go with that. But of course, it's a tradition. Yep. Happens every time. Let's see. Two of you so far want to throw me in the river. That happens a lot from what I've seen. That guy's in the river, that's right. One of you chose to invite foreign dignitaries and show off our wealth. You all just another second to vote. I think it's just 3 of you for right now. That's going to make it very hard for the chiefs whenever somebody joins in. 2 nobles voted for throw the king in the river. Decided the king will be thrown in the river. Ability goes up, authority goes down. What kind of coronation is that? A very traditional ceremony, dating back to the Queen Alma the Wise. Yep. 2 on the Baron's team. Meant to represent you being reborn as a true king. Nobles pick you up and carry you out to the Treadwater River, hurling you into the shallow water with a cheer. You climb back up on the banks, soaking wet. Chancellor steps forward and places the crown upon your head. Is it your imagination, or are some of the nobles stifling giggles? Okay, that's the end of the first season. Now you get to pick your schemes. When have the barons of the marsh... Wow, why am I saying that? When have the barons of the march backed down from a fight? Never. I know you'll do whatever it takes to put me, your rightful queen, on the throne. Okay. Now the barons get to choose their starting goal. They can get a doppelganger, goal of lowest defiance, intimidation, goal of raise others' defiance, propaganda, lower stability. As your wife who wants doppelgangers. And the second agrees. Voting's closed. Hopefully we have somebody to vote for the next plan. Barons plan to swap the real king for a perfect doppelganger. First, they must gain the trust of the spy master. Yeah, not your faction, so you couldn't vote. Yeah. This is the choice of the Baron scheme. To advance their scheme, the Barons must be the region with the lowest defiance in 2 seasons. So we're all tied on defiance right now, so they've already met their goal. Chiefs of the North. We all know I should be on the throne, not this imposter King Masnokinza. How do we make that happen? Orc, Chief of the North, right? Okay. Do we have any chiefs in here? We only had 1. So we may have to wait on another chief. The Furries of the North, disgusting. I've heard that in several games I've played. They have been called the Furries of the North. It still cracks me up when I hear it. Northern Borkers. Well, you could say the game is developing a culture. It definitely is. So, question is, do we wait on a chief to join and set a goal, or do we just let it go at random? Could possibly set the chiefs at a bit of a disadvantage. Alright, it's Kaiser Wife who wants random. Maybe it'll go for... I've seen Ragnarok before. I don't know if I've seen the Subterfuge or the Hornblower ending. I guess we'll just let it go. Why not? Random it is. Hornblower. Lower the faith of all. I've seen an AFK faction nearly win. Really? It happens, I suppose. Chief planned to dig up Oddhild's legendary horn and use it to take over the kingdom. First, they must win the favor of the gods by diminishing the kingdom's belief in the night. To advance their scheme, the chiefs must lower the combined total of all regions' faith to 12 or less in 4 seasons. If there's enough infighting, yes. Yeah, it got to phase 3. Nice. That's impressive. So they've already got their goal as well. Fellow patricians of the coast. My claim to the throne is far more legitimate than that of King Masnokinza. Something must be done. Alright, now the patricians get to choose their goal. Patricians have chosen monopoly. Okay. Their goal is to raise their own trade. Pretty easy goal for them. It's usually, what, 4? Patricians plan to privatize this entire damn kingdom. First, they must build up their industry. To advance their scheme, the patricians must raise their trade to 5 or more in 4 seasons. I raise own trade. Daring today, are we? Right? Yeah, it's pretty common to pick that one, isn't it? Daring today. Okay. End of season. Let's see. We have a North event. We have Honor Guard. We'll go with the Honor Guard first. No idea what I'm doing. First game on this. Oh boy. You're in for a adventure. Now that you're a king, you need personal protection. Why, I could plunge my sword into your heart right now, could I not? I suppose so. You need an honor guard to keep you safe from such dangers, your majesty. Unfortunately, this is a political decision. What are my options? Each region offers a selection of elite guards, the chiefs with their most famous warrior heroes, patricians with champion gladiators from the arena, and the barons offer a squad of battle-hardened veteran soldiers. Think carefully, your majesty. These guards' loyalties will be divided between you and the region. Of course, you could just hire foreign mercenaries. They'd be loyal to coin above all. Okay. What about the Northern Warriors? Bearded oafs, with axes and no manners. They'll get drunk and cause trouble in the palace. No discipline at all. I can't guarantee they won't run off on some random quest. But they're honorable, and in a fight, unbeatable. But of course, the Chads in red are all you need, my lord. A gang of low-born crooks who've turned themselves into celebrities through their skill at chopping other people to bits. They're vain and selfish. Their skill in battle is undeniable, but can you trust them? Tell me about the veterans of the march. These soldiers have fought more battles than they've had hot dinners. They'll be uncouth, no doubt, and won't adapt well to life in the palace, but they're loyal and tough as nails. What foreign mercenaries do you suggest? A band of fearsome fighters from the Tatterlands called Battle-Bitten Brethren. They specialize in bodyguard work, but they're costly. And hiring foreigners will be considered an insult to all the regions. Made my decision. Our guard is as loyal as we are to you, our king. Alright, you've convinced me. I'll go with the march. Probably a mistake in the long run, but we'll see. I mean, as long as I sell you the guards. Too late on that one. I'll make the arrangements at once. Veterans arrive a few weeks later and march into the throne room in perfect formation or lining up behind your throne, hands on their sword hilts. Each soldier sports a bigger scar than the last. Go with a march event. Still waiting on another chief to come in. Don't want to do their event yet. Your Highness, I've been thinking. Marcher soldiers are without peer, but our armies could always be stronger. What we really need are better horses. But the best don't come cheap. Ashmedians have a surplus of destriers at the moment. Horses bred for war. Perhaps the crown could go halves with the barons to acquire some, for the good of the kingdom, of course. See, they're already asking for money. Yeah, that's true. So it goes. The crown purchase Ashmedian destriers on behalf of the baron. For the good of the nation. See. What's bad for me? I'm going for high military, so it's actually in my favor. So let's not go with this one. We'll start the vote. This is a vote for everyone. Money grabbers would not understand what military might is. Of course, that is expensive for me, but we'll see how it goes. No more votes. One more vote on C. It's my choice, but I'll probably still pick A. Alright, that looks like it. Money well spent. We shall see. As long as I don't end up bankrupt. Both you and Baron Fane Welkin hand over hefty stacks of gold to Ashmedian ambassador, who eyes them suspiciously. Sure enough, a few weeks later, a legion of feisty war horses are delivered to the march. And it only cost you an arm and a leg. I'm alone against two. Let's go. It happens. Maybe we can get a few more in here in a little while. These are incredible beasts, Your Majesty. The barons will never have to ride our puny native horses again. I can't thank you enough. Military 9. Wow. That is an impressive military. Alright, the North event. Greatness, this is an outrage. Noble patrician Ben MSP is trying to steal my bear from under my nose. We shall never fear the chiefs. Did you say bear? Not her bear. I was about to buy this beast from an adventurer in the Tatterlands when Chief, a creature of the forest, turned up, shouting and raving about Skuranorn. Who is Skuranorn? Northern goddess of medicine and knowledge. Bear wears her mark upon her brow, clear as day. I suppose this is a matter for the council. Mark my words, if this bear is not brought to the north, where she belongs, there'll be trouble. Alright. What choice do I want here? I suppose it doesn't particularly matter. Let's see, faith down for blue doesn't hurt anyone. Assuming that is faith down for blue. I think it is. Guess it doesn't particularly matter. We'll go ahead and start with the vote. Why give the patricians a bear? I don't know. That's up for you guys to decide. I say we encourage a bidding war. True patrician's way. Let's see, why not? Yeah, let's see what that does. Ooh, looks like the other patrician has shown back up. Alright. But I do believe we are still missing a chief. But we will carry on. Voting is closed. Encourage a bidding war between the two nobles. In a furious back and forth, the nobles battle it out for ownership of the bear. Eventually, the leafy creature of the forest wins out. The Tatterlands adventurer is delighted and goes away with more money than she knows what to do with. The North's defiance goes down, and the chief creature of the forest wealth decreases to 0. Well, they're going to be disappointed if they come back. Naturally, the patricians aren't happy to have lost their potential zoo exhibit, but there's little they can do. Their defiance increases. The bear turns out to be a fearsome creature with bright white fur and intent green eyes, and she's vast. Even on all fours, she stands taller than a wagon. It is a big bear. It's not like the patricians can rebel. This is true, they do tend to get bullied a bit, because they don't have the military. That is something I've seen in a few games. He's transported north slowly and carefully, sedated by special herbs, and followed by a stream of worshipping villagers. Chief a creature of the forest is delighted that Skuranorn's will has been done. Fate can't go lower. Okay, that's the end of this season. Everyone has their goals met so far. Now we have an auction. First choice is an observatory to lower the faith of the barons. Second is the Thieves Guild to lower the trade of the barons. Third choice is to raise the faith of the chiefs. Fourth is the library for stability for the chiefs. Grand Bazaar, well, stability for kingdom, not the chiefs specifically. No reason any of you here would probably do that. Grand Bazaar for trade up for the patricians, and authority down for the kingdom. They're all bad options. It happens. Like I said, these auctions really don't have that big of an effect on the game from what I've seen. We'll go ahead and start it. Looks like Fane Welkin already took a hit on their money. And a creature of the north, they're not here anymore, but they lost all theirs just now. The auction can absolutely have a big effect, but this particular one isn't great. They can, it's true. Sometimes it's the point you need, but it's usually just one point. It's usually not the one that takes you over the edge. It looks like we are going for 1 funding into C and D. So +1 faith for the chiefs and +1 stability for the kingdom. Oops, somebody put in 50 at the end. We got +1 trade, +1 stability. Oh man, it picked one of those at random, didn't it? Huh? The ones that only had 1 into them. Interesting. Alright. Patrician squeaked one out and took the trade right at the end. Not a bad move. If you don't know, the trade roll at the beginning of every season, it's a random roll for who's going to get the most money back in their personal coffers. Usually a higher number will get it, but that's not always true. We'll go with the unpaid debt. Puny King, you have not kept up with your warhorse payments. Remedy this, or face the wrath of the Empire. Ooh. I already paid you. I explained the price to Baron Bainwelkin. They assured me the remainder from your initial payment would be received in installments. Oh my. I've been deceived. I have received no such installments, and they are overdue. That's a total fabrication. We paid the amount in full up front. What kind of scam is this? You can refuse to pay. Pay them the debt they are owed. Return the war horses to Ashmead and apologize for the misunderstanding. Okay, well, I don't want to see us pay them, unfortunately. Refuse to pay. We can return it or refuse to pay. He is in my favor and in the favor of the barons. Holy Crusade. Still no chiefs. It's a shame. We could have used the boat to take it over the edge here, but it's going to become my choice. Down with the desert people. Yeah, I think this does usually lead to a war, doesn't it? We will refuse to pay. We got this. Very well. Act like an unruly child. So you'll be treated. Expect a raven's head with my next correspondent. The ambassador leaves without another word. Okay. Mysterious Wander, Patrician event. 9 military? This is true. We do have 9 military in the Barrens. Your Serene Highness, last week a mysterious wanderer visited the Grand Bazaar we built in the coast. Claimed to be from the distant, cloaked city of Samarkand. And she said she had a number of magical artifacts for sale, but wizard law forbids the unlicensed trade of magical items. Wizard law, what's that? Highly complex field that few understand except the wizards themselves, Your Serene Highness. But on the matter of magic trade, most clear. I humbly request that the council grant our Grand Bazaar a license so the coast may benefit from this wanderer's magic. Okay, well, I can't veto this time. I know what they're going to want. Probably the trade up, and that wouldn't hurt my feelings. This early in the game, I don't mind if one of you reaches your goals. Invite the Wanderer for a direct audience with the king. Use to grant a license and send the mysterious Wanderer away. B sounds interesting. Mom always told me... Oh, what happened there? My mom always told me to trust strangers. Oh, right. I guess we're seeing what that's gonna do now. All of you have agreed on B. We will invite the Wanderer for a direct audience with the king. A few days later, the mysterious wanderer from Samarkand appears at court. She bows low, her jewelry clinking and clattering. Behind her, a wizened troll carries her goods. I am honored to be granted an audience with your majesty. I bring items of wonder from the cloaked city of Sarakan, available at a most reasonable price. Tell me about Sarakan. Alas, I cannot. I was exiled, and as part of my exile, the Triumvirs placed a curse on me which forbade me from discussing any details of my homeland with outsiders. Tell me this wondrous creations. Belfwolf. She claps her hand sharply, and a troll, presumably named Belforth, begins sorting through the sack of goods and showing off what's inside. First of all, I offer you a mechanical bird of my own design. It can speak, though only in rhyme, and is capable of soaring through the skies like its flesh and blood counterpart. Belforth holds up a golden bird with clockwork wings and a metal beak. I can talk, I can fly, it squawks. I'm an excellent buy. Next up, a spyglass that can peer into the future. Be careful when you use it, your majesty. You may not like what you see. Belforth holds up its spyglass. It looks battered, unremarkable, and very small in his giant hand. And finally, an orb recovered from the tomb of an ancient Eteshi ruler Malik. It sends all those who look upon it into a drowsy, peaceful daze. Don't look too deep. You may fall asleep forever. Belforth raises the glowing orb over his head, and you feel your eyelids droop. Maybe just a little nap would do you some good. Then as the orb is stowed away once more, you perk up again. Now tell me, Great King, which will you buy? Bird, the spyglass, or the orb? Okay, I don't know if I want my money to drop all the way down to 0. I'll throw you in the dungeon and take them all. That could be an interesting choice. I don't know if I've seen that one. Let's go for it. See what happens. You dare steal from Wizard of Sarakan? Pathetic creature. I will show you the meaning of despair. This probably isn't going to end well, but we'll see. Not so fast, wizard. My liege, get behind us. We'll protect you. I think I might just lose my honor guard here. But the mysterious wanderer makes a sharp gesture and mutters a few words in a guttural tongue you don't understand. And your honor guard vanish. In their place stands a troop of very confused-looking pigs. And now for you, little king. Officers, do something! The wizard stares at you for a long moment, then tosses back her head and laughs. Turns and leaves your palace without a second glance. Her troll shambling behind her. On a guard, no, right? It's only later that evening, examining yourself in the mirror, that you notice the giant rat's tail curling out from under your robe. It seems to be a permanent fixture. Oh my. Ah, what's happened to me? The long pink tail makes you a laughingstock among nobles and commoners alike, who take to calling you the rat when they think you're out of earshot. I'm the Rat King now. And I have to find a spouse. And I have a rat tail. We'll see how that goes. The twisty passage of your castle, you can avoid your advisors, the nobles, even the spy master, but there's one person you can't avoid. Mother. Why haven't you found a spouse yet? It's been almost a year. Been busy. Better find the time. Don't worry. I'll take the liberty of finding eligible candidates. What's your preference? Men? Women? Or do you not mind? Oh no. Not medieval moms. Yeah. I don't know if we're going to find a whole lot of luck here with the rat tail, but we'll see. We're going to go for some women. Excellent. I'll send out messengers to the most influential noble families in the kingdom. See what they have to offer. Said the honor guard pig. Oh, brutal. They defended the king. They did do their job. They defended me. You green pea. Oh, end season. Even the force of the march. Baron Fane Welkin has gone boar hunting with a few of their closest friends. Did you have a surprise for me? Indeed, and here it is. Behold. Your Highness. What are you doing here at such an hour? I'm sorry. I hope you didn't overhear any. Ah ha ha. Quit babbling, you blowhard. This isn't the king. It's a peasant, who's the king's spitting image. Great God. Just in time. The spy master trusts us so much that she's not noticed that we're fortifying the border. It means we can move to the next phase, kidnapping the king and putting this fool in his place. How do we manage that? We need the kingdom in utter chaos, bad enough that the king's abduction can slip past unnoticed. For the next stage of their scheme, the barons must lower stability to 4 or less in 4 seasons. Oof, our stability's at 7. That's one thing we actually do have quite a bit of. They collect common tax or target a specific region. I would like the money, and I think I will bully the patricians, as is tradition. Tax the rich. The barons got a bonus on their money. They won the roll. I tax the rich. I could have just done the chief since there are none here right now and nobody would have lost anything. The eligible options. I have found 3 potential matches for you. 1 eligible young woman from each kingdom, 3 regions. Choose wisely. You'll be securing a powerful alliance. Yes, I know. Your mother leads you to the Great Hall, where she's arranged 3 portraits on easels. For now, each is covered by a cloth. Wait, I don't even get to meet them? No time for sentiment. You just need a match that befits your station and suits your political needs. Twist away the cloth from the first portrait. This is Helga, firstborn daughter of the Northern, a creature of the Forest clan. Beautiful, isn't she? Apparently she's also exceptionally well-mannered and agreeable for a Northerner. I've heard she spends most of her time playing cards or making wagers with friends and hangers-on. Had a bit of controversy a while back when her clan hall burned down. She was to blame somehow. See the appeal, I suppose. On the coast we have Octavia, the wealthy heiress to noble patrician Ben MSP's estate. Got a reputation for honesty and fair-mindedness. That's rare along the coast. Her interests are typical of the coast. Money, 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 and making more of it. Common folk call her a skinflint, though. And worse things. I like the sound of her. Finally, we have the March's offering. Victoria. Scion of the prestigious, it's Kaiser waifu bloodline. You can be sure she'll tell you all about how prestigious her bloodline is. She'll probably marry the green peas to lower their defiance. Wait, never mind. That's my daughter. Changes things, doesn't it? Either that or pig cousin. She's a zealous follower of the Ninth God, able to quote scripture backwards and forward. I can assure you my daughter has the finest of blood. I tested her myself. I'm not sure I want to know the details of that, but okay. And that volume. She's got a reputation for not giving a damn what anyone thinks of her. Sounds like a laugh. What do you think? Of course, by picking a candidate, you'll anger the other regions, but you'll gain a lifelong alliance. I raised her well. Alright, I made my decision. Well, which of them do you wish to marry? So... I mean, we could take the... That doesn't have any effect at all. I guess we'll go with... the north. Join the march in holy matrimony. The coast went up to 5. The north went down to 0 defiance, and the march is now at 1 defiance. Excellent. I'll make the arrangements. Oh, here we are. We're with Ashmead already. Bad news, Your Highness. I've just received a message from the Ashmedian ambassador, accompanied by a severed raven's head. The Empire has declared war on us. Why the raven's head? Some ancient Ashmedian tradition. Ashmedian Empire's golden age is long behind it. They're still bigger than us, with more soldiers and a long history of conquest, but they lack discipline and are plagued by infighting. The kingdom's armies are in decent shape, but this will be difficult. Marches is already maxed out. Everybody else went up by 1. Those desert barbarians won't know what hit them. News of the war inspires a wave of patriotic fervor across the kingdom. Old knights come out of retirement, and naive youth stampede to join the army. Hopefully it'll prove enough. Rest assured, Your Majesty, we'll have our full support in this war. Hey, mediocre military, yay, yeah. Rest assured, Your Majesty, you'll have our full support in this war. What's our opening gambit? Okay. So we have desperately sue for peace. Not sure what that's gonna do. Stability roll. I think I will veto that. I think I want the military. Let's see how this goes. Of course, yeah, that's what I figured. The barons don't need any more military, and it helps me, so. Hey, looks like I get what I want. Alright. Despite me beating on the patricians so bad, they're still helping me out. Appreciate that. We will build up more military. I'll oversee building up our fortifications. The Empire is mobilizing only a fraction of its strength. If we bloody their nose, they might decide we're more trouble than we're worth. Oh, it only raised the marches, though. Well, that did basically nothing. Alright. Hungry Bear. Our wondrous bear is thriving in the north, Your Greatness, just as Skuranorn would wish. God speakers have gained visions of new herbs and medicines ever since she arrived. The gods are good. Excellent news. The only thing is that she's eating a lot. Our hunters have to push into the frozen wastes to find enough food to go around. Farming dropped down to meager. Having second thoughts, are ya? Perhaps the bear would do better in a nice, cozy menagerie, Okay. I'm sure it doesn't really matter to the barons because they get what they want either way with A or D. I guess it's going to be up to the patricians. Patricians going for the low roll. That will do damage to the chief stats and potentially others. might still work out in the favor of the barons. We'll see. So do I go for the low roll and damage the chiefs? Or do I help out? You know what? I've helped the reds quite a bit so far. Oh man, but that's such a low roll though. That's probably gonna hurt me. Yeah, I'll still stick with you guys for now. Sorry, patricians. You'll catch a vote eventually. By all that glitters, not our bear. By the ninth. How could you do this to us? That the chiefs aren't happy is an understatement. Riots break out across the north. Someone breaks into the council hall at night and scrawls the symbol of Skirnorn over the walls. Congrats on your new bear, Ben MSB. The bear is transported once more, back south this time. She's increasingly impatient, and each one of her guards along the way. Decreased kingdom stability, more defiance for the north, less defiance for the coast. Hopefully she'll settle in more comfortably once she gets to the menagerie. Yep. Okay, that's the end of this season. I get to adopt a law. So, I can go for the monarch's golden choice, which will give money if the nobles vote for it. Timer and plus authority. Plus authority I don't need right at the moment. I think this would be more useful for right now. A little bit of incentive for you guys to work together. Okay, the royal wedding. Your wedding to Helga is naturally the talk of the kingdom. Nobles and peasants alike travel from across the realm to attend. For a week and a day, the capital is one giant party. It feels like you're the only one not taking part. Instead, you're getting ready for the ceremony. Soon enough, you're standing in St. Bertrand's Cathedral with Helga at your side. Do you take this woman as your lawfully wedded wife? I do. I now pronounce you king and wife. After the wedding, of course, there's a feast, and after the feast, a dance. Your new wife, Helga, laps up the attention, delivering a witty speech in which she flatters you outrageously. Gain stability, authority, lower defiance across all three. By the time you find yourself alone with Helga, it's past midnight, and you've never felt more tired. You dance so beautifully. It was such a wonderful day, wasn't it? Agree with her. You endure a long conversation in which Helga seems determined to flatter you relentlessly and agree with everything you say. By night's end, you still don't know who Helga really is. Her real personality is concealed beneath 100 layers of etiquette. You go to your separate bedchambers, still strangers. Okay. We have the invasion and a risky wager. Go with the risky wager first. Hold on to your masks, hats, and other accessories, everyone. Baron, its Kaiser Waifu is about to lose a huge amount of money. He doesn't like the sound of that. We bet our life saving on a boat race around the coast, and I am sure to win the day. So sure, in fact, that I petitioned the council to officially sponsor my voyage. What makes you so sure? Steps below, your august majesty. I'm a patrician. We practically learn to sail before we can walk. He's talking rubbish, my liege. My nice little cog will easily outstrip Eilith's old boat. If you sponsor anyone, sponsor me. Oh, so I'm paying. I can pay everything I have out of the treasury. Don't like that. Guess I'll leave it up to you guys on this one. You can sponsor Lord Patrician Islet, sponsor Baron its Kaiser Waifu, or decline to support anyone. Okay. You deserve it, it's Kaiser Waifu. I'm helping the war after all. That's true, but I have been pretty much favoring the barons. And you have more money than anybody right now. March Might's gonna save us. This is true. It might be the March's might that saves us. Hey, Ponytail raided in. Welcome, welcome. Welcome, raiders. Save us from what you caused. Not untrue. But we will sponsor Lord Patrician Islet. Maybe we get someone in the Chief's crew now? Yeah. Yeah, the Chiefs could use somebody. They have literally no one. And that cost half my treasury. Mercy. One and all, I'm honored to sail with the crown behind me. This is the king of the castle you were talking about? Yes, yes it is, Ponytail. Sure enough, a new figurehead is added to Islet's little boat's prow that looks something like you. It has a crown anyway. Excitement builds as merchants and tourists flock to the starting town. Soon both boats embark on their journey. They look very small and flimsy against the vast ocean backdrop. And any of you can join the game and play just by pressing or typing in !join and your pronoun. And you'll be able to vote in any of these events. Your Serene Highness, I understand you elected to sponsor my fellow patrician for the race. Would you fancy a small wager? Since everyone says you're sure he'll win, what sort of wager are you talking about? A mere trifle for you, I'm sure, Your Serene Highness. Your wisdom is known by all, but naturally, you'd have great fortune. I have no time for such things. Very well, Your August Majesty. But you're no fun. We return to the capital to await news of the race. I don't need to be throwing some more money away. The invasion. Your Majesty, Ashmedian troops are massing on the Marcher borders. The armies of the chiefs and patricians are marching, but not yet in place. For now, only the barons guard our borders. Ashmead will attack at any moment. We could order the chiefs and patricians on a forced march at double speed, but it might exhaust them before they reach the battle. Okay, I don't have a choice of C because I don't have enough treasury. I guess we go for giving you guys some money for choice A. Don't worry, the barons can handle us alone. It's 80% roll for military. Or the chiefs and patricians must march through day and night. 70% roll for military. We got this, son. I mean, vote money. Right? I see you've all agreed. Okay. Apparently the barons can handle it alone. Piece of cake. Military challenge succeeded. Baron its Kaiser Waifu rides off to muster your defenses. The wait is excruciating, until a week later your marshal bursts in to inform you that Ashmead began its attack last night and the first battle is already over. It looked dicey at first, but Baron its Kaiser Waifu rallied his troops like a true hero. we slew a dozen Ashmedians for every soldier we lost. Despite their numbers, they haven't made it across the border. We held them off, suggesting a medal is in order. Thank you for the follow. Didn't catch your name, though. Animanzer. Thank you for the follow. And of course, glory to the march. Okay, my choices are award a medal to Baron Itzkaiser Waifu for a small piece of treasury and give them some wealth, or he was just doing his job and gained defiance. I am okay with that little 150 treasury. Baron Itzkaiser Waifu beams as you pin the medal to his chest. Gains a little bit of money. I lose a little bit of treasury. Ashmedians won't give up that easily, unfortunately. We're safe for now, but they're no doubt gearing up for another assault. Okay, that is the end of this season. Northern sagas tell of Odheld's horn, once gifted to mortals by the honey-blooded prince himself, then lost to the snows of time, never to be found again. Until now. I have it. Odheld has spoken. Last night, during the storm, I beseeched the drunken vessel himself, and lo, did lightning strike the earth far to the north. That is where we will find the horn. You mean into the frozen wastes? Aye. Have everyone muster their best warriors. We're headed into the domain of the ice giants. The next stage of the chief's scheme, they must raise their military to 5 or more in 2 seasons. Okay. They met their first goal, and they already have enough for their second goal. A dingy seaside tavern, 2 patricians of the coast meet to plot their latest scheme. The coast's economy has never been better. We're making more money than I know what to do with. Money breeds money. I've made a series of investments to improve our profits even more. But what do we do with all the rest, this gold? My patrician's wealth has increased. Time to start buying things, of course. Land, roads, bridges. We'll buy up the whole kingdom, piece by piece. But first, the king must be in a desperate need of our gold. Oh boy, I'm already really low on treasury. To advance their scheme, the patricians must lower the treasury to 1,500 or less in 2 seasons. So they've already met their goal as well, but they have to wait 1 more season. Everybody advances their goal, and it's 2 seasons away, and I have no heir. So not looking good so far. The crown is in a little bit of a pickle. Go Golem Assault first. Your Majesty, Your Majesty. The Ashmedians have begun their second assault on our border, and this time they brought golems. Golems, oh dear. Golem is immune to arrows and conventional weaponry. Their fists can crush any armor, and Ashmead has built hundreds of them. Our troops have already been forced to retreat, and now the Ashmedians hold miles of marcher territory. What can we do against such a threat? Alright, have all my choices back. So, scramble the golem's primitive brains, dig trenches, and set up traps. At lower stability, which is the Baron's goal. Also lowers authority. That's probably for the Barons as well. That would be their farming and faith. So it's a hit for them, but they want it. I think trade, not authority. I'll go for the money on the scramble golem's primitive brains. Trade, not authority. Oh, did I say authority? You're right. It's down trade, down farming, and down faith. Okay, we'll start it. You'll have to type that again because I wasn't quick enough. Alright, we have another member. They have joined the Chiefs. Now they finally have someone back on their side. Alright. Chief, you want to put in a vote and get some of that money? I will give you the opportunity to do so. You can't sway the vote, but you can get the money. You get 500 gold if you vote B. Exactly. There we go. Everybody wins. Voting is closed. Scramble the golems, primitive brains. Golems are tough, but mindless. They just follow the orders written inside their skulls until they're destroyed or disabled. The most learned marcher, priests, gather and, led by the archbishop, attempt to write some command words in Old Oldavagian, the language of Archmede's clergy. A 60% roll. Hopefully the priest translated it correctly. The priest's words are inscribed on scrolls and given to your soldiers who bravely climb up the golem's back in the heat of battle and shove the scrolls into their ears. Faith challenge failed. But it has no effect. Perhaps your priest got the syntax wrong, or forgot to conjugate a verb. In any case, the golems keep attacking without pause. Your troops bravely throw themselves at the golems. It is a disaster. Soldiers are flattened by enormous clay fists or crushed underfoot. That is unfortunate for the military goal that I have, but it's great for the stability goal of the barons. Over the next month, Archmedian soldiers occupy much of the march. They loot shops, pillage churches, and raze the farmlands. They've lost trade, farming, faith. The war may already be lost. Ouch. Brutal. Kingdom's looking rough. An island discovered. We heard from the boating competition around the coast. Your esteemed highness, I have a letter from Lord Patrician Ilith. Most excellent. Though we weathered a storm, we found a tiny deserted island that wasn't on our maps where we could rest and shelter. Its Kaiser wife who wasn't so lucky. He was blown off course, and I haven't seen him since, the fool. I have called it Ilith's Island, and officially claim it for the patricians. Most excellent. Not only is my friend winning the race, this is wonderful news for the coast. Hell's bells, I had a letter from its Kaiser waifu saying he saw this island first. His claim is just as legitimate, if not more. Your August Majesty, surely you cannot entertain this nonsense. This could be of great strategic importance to the coast. Do the patricians or barons have rights to the newly discovered island? We could give the island to the patricians, which would lower their defiance and raise their military. We could give the island to the barons, which would lower their defiance and raise their trade. We take it to the Crown Lands. It's Masnokinza's land now. That increases defiance, authority, and my treasury. Or we could go with D. Ilith should concentrate on winning the race. That increases defiance. The king needs gold, though. The king does need gold. Last time barons got something, they got into a war. Just saying. This is true. Don't think I'll be able to stop you guys from doing much here. But we will veto give islands to the Baron. We're killing it though in this war. Well, we're surviving the war so far. I don't know about killing it. Glorious Crusade is busting. Vote. Actually, I would rather you vote C personally, but okay. The votes are in. I get what I want. The Defiance isn't that great, but it is what it is. Not much for my treasury, but it's something. Death below. This is a disgrace. Still, an outpost in the sea brings respect from neighboring nations. Transport ships can rest and repair on the island, bringing more money to the capital through the new trade route. Meanwhile, tension rises in the capital as the nobles wait to hear what discoveries the race has in store next. Who cares about patrician defiance? Yeah, they don't have a great military yet for a rebellion if they wanted to do so. Better than it is sometimes, but not great. The deaths of your honor guard in the line of duty was a tragedy, Your Majesty, but we don't have time to mourn. We must replace them at once. The king needs protection. What are my options? Each region offers a selection of elite guards. Okay, yeah, we get to choose another set of honor guards. Of course, since your previous honor guard were marcher veterans who will never live to collect their pensions, the barons refuse to send any more of their hard-bitten soldiers to die in your service. Okay. We already went through all this once. Made my decision. I await your verdict with bated breath, Your Majesty. So this time, I have the choice of the mercenaries, northern warriors, or the coastal gladiators. I think we will go with the northern warriors. Sorry, Coast. It's just not your day. Very good, Your Majesty. I will make the arrangements at once. The warrior heroes arrive a few weeks later. They swagger in with big grins and bigger axes, belching and singing and roaring out unsavory jokes. One of your courtiers faints. Okay, that's the end of this season. Another auction. You can type !fund, the letter, and how much you want to put in of your wealth, which is over here, to get an aqueduct to increase the farming of the barons, lower the stability of the kingdom, increase the military. Well, I haven't started it yet. Increase the military of the chiefs, increase the authority of the kingdom, lower the authority of the kingdom, or lower the trade of the patricians. Alright, let's start the auction. You have 1 minute to make your choices. You have a fund for increased military for the chiefs. Interesting strategy, increasing the military of the chiefs. But you have the money to do that if you so choose. You are the richest person here. And the barons will reduce stability. Oh, we have a call in for some reduced trade for the patricians. Uh-oh, somebody double funded. And the auction is over. It looks like the barons got stability down, patricians got trade down. And the biggest contributors to both of those were the barons. Okay. That means the barons have now met their goal. Everybody has met their goal at this point. About your heir. Marriage to Helga is not what you'd hoped. She seldom sleeps in your bed, and over breakfast you exchange only a few frosty words before she departs to meet some friends for a card game. The last thing on your mind is procuring an heir, but the needs of the kingdom must prevail. Congratulations are in order. The royal wedding was a magnificent affair. Oh, I forgot to give a shout out to, just now realized that. Ponytail Man. I do appreciate the raid. Hope I put that in right. There we go. He was playing Final Fantasy 14 online. Alright. How was that stream? If any of you are still here. The royal wedding was a magnificent affair. Okay, I think your wife cheated on you. If you had picked my daughter, this would not have happened. Oh my. Felt more like a life sentence than a wedding. Oh, don't be so dramatic. You've done well so far. Something's still missing. An heir. You need someone young, whose loyalty is assured. A child of your own would do the trick, even if they're a bastard, or the youngest of your many cousins. But we can still try. So far it's been pretty icy. Let's make an attempt. Not the traditional method. No one will object to that. I'll arrange for you to take a month off from rolling so you can, get down to business. Okay. A bizarre report. Your Majesty, I've received worrying reports. Worrying and confusing. I'm constantly worried and confused. Yes, Your Majesty, I did get that impression. I've received reports that from one of my little birdies, the Baron Fane Welkin's fortress, they have a most unusual guest. Let me guess, the second god himself. No. It's you, Your Majesty, or someone who looks just like you. I have no reason to suspect barons of plotting anything, and yet I can't square this away. Unfortunately, I can't devote too many resources to solving this puzzle with the kingdom in such a lamentable state. Too busy fighting fires elsewhere. I recommend you call a meeting of the council and try to do something to put a stop to this. Baron's causing yet more problems. Very well, assemble them at once. Yeah, they're trying to put in a doppelganger. Barons are plotting something. How can the council stop them? We can spend from the treasury to increase stability and lower authority. We can conduct a thorough search of Marcher's fort, delay the scheme for 1 season. That will increase their defiance. Or we could do nothing. We are sweet little angels. See. The patricians have already met their goal. This is actually a hard choice. I can only delay them, no matter what goes on here. We're just chilling with our crusade. Yep. You are indeed. So what do I care more about? We really don't want their defiance to go up. I think that's the most important thing. We'll do that. And go with the vote. As much as I'd like to delay their scheme, I don't think that's the way to do it, because that's just too much defiance for them. We have a vote from the chiefs. Treasury is nearly empty. It is indeed. If it hits 0, I do believe I lose. Alright. We'll carry on. Voting's tied at 2. I get to choose. We will triple the security. Indeed, maybe I can lend some money then. That would be very nice of you. The ranks of your palace watch are swollen with new recruits, and I have seen that happen before. I have seen one of the patricians get zeroed out and then the kingdom got it. And a strict curfew is set up within a 2-mile radius of the palace. It should help keep you safe, but the nobles think it's a display of weakness. There are rumors that you're slipping into paranoia. And that slowed them down for now. A long march north. Good evening, Your Majesty. Tell me, have you ever heard of Oddheld's Horn? A northern legend, right? Horn of Oddheld is indeed a northern legend. A horn gifted to mortals before the 9th triumph. During the Cursed Age. Get to the point. You must understand, whether it is a creation of a pagan spirit or not, the horn is real. My sources confirm it. It's said to have the power to destroy any fortification in a single toot. The chiefs are searching for it in the frozen wastes, having received a sign hinting at its location. You mean where the ice giants live? Precisely. We'll need to stop them before they retrieve it, if at all possible. They've gathered a great host of warrior heroes for the journey to the wastes. We must act fast to have any hope in stopping them. You hastily assemble the council to deal with the chief's military buildup. The chiefs predictably deny everything. Would you deny us the right to protect ourselves from the ice giants? Bah. What should be done to address the buildup of northern forces planning to head into the northern wastes? We can forbid them from entering the frozen wastes. We can ban all public mention of Oddheld's Horn, which will delay their scheme. We can protect the chiefs. Allow the chiefs to continue building up their forces. Very military is all you need, my king. Well, the problem is, A is bad for me. I need military. The second war can't hurt. I think we'll go for ban all public mentions of Oddheld's Horn. See how this goes. Especially against an artifact. Alright, the barons want A. Ooh. Alright, disagreement in the patricians. The military will be lowered, defiance will be raised, and my authority will drop. My authority is tanking. Think a piece of paper will stop us? You don't know what a northern chief is made of. Although your decree discourages a few law-abiding northern warriors from joining the expedition, you cannot stop them by law alone. The northern military becomes weaker, and my authority is also dropped. They still meet their goal, however. And that is the end of the season. Somewhere in the march, Baron Fainwelk sits at a banquet, gnawing on a greasy chicken leg. They and their fellow plotters discuss their scheme between mouthfuls. kingdom's not exactly peaceful, but there's still no way we could stage the abduction of the king without being noticed. We need chaos. The Baron's aim is to lower stability to 4 or less. They did not meet that goal, unfortunately, for them. In the north, unbeknownst to the rest of the kingdom, a great battle has just taken place. Naturally, the chiefs are celebrating their recent victory against the ice giants in the frozen wastes by smashing steins together and singing battle songs all throughout the night. Did you see the giant's face when I cut him down? Poor Blighter never felt a heated act before. Haha. So much loot. Never mind the horn. Look at all this gold. The party lasts long into the night. A few chiefs take turns drinking mead out of Oddheld's horn. As dawn breaks, they stumble into the main hall where Chief Bork has beckoned them. Quiet down, you louts. It's time to get serious. This horn has the power to collapse buildings, cause earthquakes, even destroy mountains. You must vote on how it will be used. Yeah, they're using it to drink out of. Okay, if there are any chiefs, you get to choose your next scheme. They can threaten to destroy the kingdom's food supply, or lower other farming, or they could sneak into the capital and collapse the palace onto the monarch's head. Lower authority. I'd say they already have B if they take it. Launch Chiefs RNG into A and win. Possible. I'm gonna take a real quick break. I'll be right back. Yep, easy Chiefs win. Yeah, that's a possibility. Haven't had a whole lot of opportunities to stop them. It looks like they're still not winning the game. It's gonna be a little disappointing if nobody here wins, huh? Alright. We'll let RNG decide. Voting is closed. Went for lower authority. Wow. Okay. Bit too sneaky for my liking, but it'll get the job done. We best make sure that security is lax enough for us to sneak in. I'm sure we can convince the king to relax a few restrictions here and there. For the good of the realm, of course. The final stage of their scheme, the chiefs must lower authority to 1 or less. Oh, at least it's only 1 or less. As long as you keep it from going down to 1, you're in good shape. At least one region has entered the final stage. Sitting on a bench outside a sun-bleached villa, 2 patricians of the coast meet to plot their latest scheme. What do I owe the pleasure, Madam Treasurer? We'll give it a rest. You know why I'm here. Just hurry this up, shall we? Where do I sign? Here, and here, and here. There you go. You got what you wanted. Now give me the money. Ah, not so fast, Madam Treasurer. Didn't we also agree you'd sign over ownership of the Royal Mint's gold mine? So I did. Very well. Here you go. Of course. Goodbye, Madam Treasurer. Did my eyes deceive me? Was that the Royal Treasurer you were speaking with? Indeed, my friend. Good news. The king's gold running out. The treasurer was willing to sell off the kingdom's roads and bridges. Soon this kingdom will be ours. But what will we do when we own everything? Okay. Patricians get a vote. They can turn the king into our proud corporate mascot, or raise stability. Or they can mercilessly extract wealth from the kingdom until it collapses. Lower authority. Ah, that's a risky maneuver, going for the lower authority, unless you already have met your goal. Going directly against the barons and going raising stability would actually put you working with me. But we'll see what happens, because there's only 2 of you to vote. It's going to be random. Voting's closed. And it went for raise stability. We can have the king dancing to our tune. We just need to make sure the kingdom's in a nice, comfortable rut. Final stage of the scheme, the patricians must raise stability to at least 7. Probably a harder goal than authority would have been, but... Well, it looks like we have to tax the patricians again. They did get some additional wealth because of their high trade. They got a good roll there. Tax the rich, yes. That's the way it's been going so far. Yeah, hopeless war. Oh no, I've lost 400 gold. But you gained 100. Anyway. Yeah, you're still the richest person here. Your Majesty, the Empire has occupied over half of the march and is still advancing on the capital. Our troops are in disarray. We're losing. We haven't lost yet. At this rate, it's only a matter of time. We can make a desperate last-ditch attempt, drive the Ashmedians back. And if we fail, our goose is cooked. Wait, what? Yeah, we are losing. The golems beat us down in the last fight. We can beg for peace treaty and offer expensive concessions. We were winning. We can rally the troops for a desperate final battle. We can pretend that the capitals come down with the plague. Okay. D sounds like a terrible choice. I'm not sure how I feel about A. then again, I'm not sure what that does. Probably cost me though. So I think I'll veto that and let you guys choose between the other two. You won one event and lost one. Let's go see. We got this. Alright, we're gonna make another military play. Maybe. Okay, looks like it. Still no chiefs, huh? Alright. And the vote? Gather the troops for a desperate final battle. And we succeeded the military role. Battle lasts for 3 days and 3 nights. It will become a legendary tale of the kingdom's last fighting forces, giving their lives to protect their homeland. Everyone's amazement, not least your marshals, the Empire's troops are driven back, astonished by the ferocity of your soldiers. Deus Vult. Your losses are terrible, of course, but after a long drought, fleeting taste of victory is sweeter than the finest wine. That's terrible for my goal, but it's good for you guys. Perhaps this humiliation will be enough to persuade Ashmead to negotiate. Let's see, we have bankruptcy loans. Bankruptcy looms. Deus Vult. Dot mit uns. Treasury is almost empty, Your Highness. What do you suggest we do? Apart from raising taxes, we have precious few options. We could get a bank loan or sell off the crown jewels, or perhaps crack open some of your predecessors' tombs. Most were buried with piles of gold, or so I've heard. This option's a trap. It is a horrible, horrible trap. I've seen it picked before, it never ends well. Let's see. If we choose this, they're going to win. That's an automatic Chiefs win, pretty much. That is also an automatic Chiefs win. Our only real choice is to crack open tombs, which is in favor of the barons. Gold isn't doing anyone any good, is it? Time to desecrate some graves. You order the royal mausoleums dug into and looted. The result is quite a bounty. Gold masks, heaps of coins, precious jewels. Hell yeah. Steal some dead granny's candies. Yeah, that works out nicely for the barons. Not everyone is as practical as your treasurer, however. Church denounce you as a grave robber. Nobles and peasants alike are disgusted by your greed. That puts the patricians able to rebel if they want to next season. Or they could get the stability back up. Dramatic news from the boat race, Your Esteemed Highness. Baroness Kaiser Waifu sent a letter telling me everything. We beg for aid. My crew has turned against me. They're saying I'm working them too hard, and there's no hope of winning anyway. Now they demand higher pay. They're threatening to throw me overboard. I beg for help. Every minute we argue, we lose time against Lilith. Great God, we must step in. These sailors can't be allowed to disrupt the race like this. Really? Surely if it's Kaiser Waifu can't lead his own crew, that's on him. Why should he get special treatment? This has already hurt his chances of winning the bet. Why should he be punished further? How dare they stand against my glory? Should the council step in to help Baron and Kaiser Waifu deal with the mutiny? What do I want to do here? What is my choice? Military role, I guess? Sure, the barons won't want B, but the patricians will. I don't know. I could go either way on that one. I picked that one, but I'm not sure which one I really want. I need the military, but they're going to win as soon as that season passes anyway, I think. You brought desert people on us? Yeah, I guess I kind of did, didn't I? Okay, do I want to take... Turns on phase 2. We're not going to win. Are you really? False propaganda. The farthest behind. I didn't even notice that. That's right, because you were trying to get that last time, weren't you? Alright, we'll try it. Hopefully this goes well. We succeeded the military challenge. Martyr knights may not be trained for sea skirmishes, but they quickly overpower the mutinous sailors. Kaiser Waifu is back on track, and his boat picks up more speed in the wake of the fight. Not only that, but as the story spreads, Martyr sailors back home work double time to avoid the same fate. Trade is now struggling, well ahead at Eel, and the race is nearly over. Grand military is the greatest in the world. Well, it's even with the chiefs right now. It's had a little bit of a decline because of the war. Like end of season. King is on the brink of chaos. It's perfect. We have to strike. What do you intend us to do? Swoop in and kidnap the king in full view of the honor guard and the palace watch? No, of course not. We need to use the chaos to our advantage. We have two options. Marchers. Barons of the March get to choose whether they want to raise their own defiance or to lower their own farming. Farming's already looking pretty bad. They could go for a double goal if they want to go for the defiance though. Potentially rebelling if need be. And they have decided on lower own farming. They're going to manufacture a food crisis and kidnap the king during the relief efforts. If the march is gripped with famine, we can convince the king to come down and visit us, kiss babies, hand out bread, that sort of thing. That's when we strike. One king rides down to the march, and another king rides home. Well, we're not making it up, really. We really are going to have a food crisis. It's true. It's looking a little rough across farming for most of the kingdom. Huzzah. But what about our own citizens? Won't they starve? The folks of the march are made of sterner stuff than that. They'll survive on boiled boots and nettle soup. For the final stage of their scheme, the barons must lower their farming to 1 or less. Okay, I get to put in another goal. I can take +1 stability, which would actually be in benefit of the patricians. Nobles can change their minds and vote for a different option. Just in case you guys want the option, I suppose. Then we ate the last honor guard. Aaron sent a few years ago. Yeah. One or more regions are able to rebel, as their defiance stat is higher than both authority and stability. Okay, the patricians may now rebel if they so choose. They would do so by typing !rebel. The lackluster menagerie. Your August Majesty, I fear our menagerie is failing to thrive. We thought the bear would be the star of the show, but she just sits in her enclosure looking sad. No one wants to see her. Of course she's sad. She's meant to roam the frozen tundra, not getting overheated and being fed sweets. Actually, we wondered if she'd like some company. Perhaps the Tatterlands would yield another bear of her type? Okay, we can find the bear companion, which would cost me treasury, lower defiance, increase wealth of, I assume, the patricians? Yeah, that would be the patricians' wealth. And increase trade for them as well. We can bring the bear alive to the royal palace, which would increase the defiance. I'm not sure whose defiance that would be. The patrician should be put on a grand feast for the bear. Very low chance. Farming roll. I think... Let's see here. What do we want to go with? Maybe veto the defiance. I'm not sure whose defiance that would be. Probably just the patricians, honestly. I'm curious. I really don't want the bottom one. We'll make it between A and B. Probably Chief Defiance. But they were wanting an additional bear. Looks like we are split. I think I'm actually okay with choice A. I don't think I've seen this event play out like this either. So, patricians contact the adventurer from the Tatterlands once more, who returns having lost an eye, but gained a large sedated bear. Lowers the treasury and lowers the defiance of the coast. Once a second bear is safely installed in the enclosure, both beasts cheer up. People flock to noble patrician Ben MSP's menagerie to lay eyes on these majestic creatures. Okay. The end is near. The coastal boat race is nearly at a close. I'm pleased to announce that Lord Patrician Iolith is all set to win. How exciting. Truly this race is of utmost importance. On a completely unrelated note, I have a shipment of lumber that is due to intercept the racers any day now. If my ship got in the way, who knows what might happen. I dare say the race's outcome could be altered. Of course, I could be convinced to alter the shipment's route instead. Your esteemed highness, we must put a stop to this shameless attempt to sabotage the race. Okay. We can go with, have the barons pay for the ship to obstruct Lord Patrician Isla's path. Have the patricians pay, or we could refuse the shameless bribe. All those raise authority. refuse the shameless bribe. I'll put golden choice on refuse shameless bribe. I'm not sure who's losing all that money there. Who has that much money? Is that its Kaiser Waifu's money? Surely not. Well, even if you vote it, you're going to get some of your money back. Probably not much consolation, but oof. That is rough for whoever that is, which is probably its Kaiser Waifu. But my lumber shipment will have to be diverted. It'll be late. The North's trade is now struggling, and the Defiance is now mutinous. That's what you get for trying to interfere. The coast's Defiance goes down, the Marsh's Defiance goes down. Two nobles and peasants alike gather at the finish line, watching breathlessly as the winner arrives. And it's Lord Patrician Eilith. Excellent. No one can beat a patrician in a boat race. Oh, so that's what the gamble was. Oh, you bet everything on it. Could not have done it without the generous sponsorship of King Masnokinza. The coast Defiance goes down. The authority goes up. Now pay up, it's Kaiser Waifu. Damn it. I can't even stand to look at fish anymore. I don't know what's happening to my sea legs. Thank you. Thank you very much. Perhaps you'd like a rematch in a year's time? Wow. 6.5k. No, I'm never setting foot in a boat again, you salty sea urchin. Back on the coast, merchants flock to investigate Eilith's boat and use his sailing techniques to improve their own crafts. Maxed out trade. No, my money. The race is over. They grip the kingdom. Similar bets take place as far afield as Saul and Kurth, some successful and others ending in watery deaths. Poor its Kaiser Waifu. Lost everything. You should have voted with it though. If you'd have voted with him, you could have got a little bit back. This is what I get for defending the king in war. Yeah, it hasn't ended well for any of us, has it? Our militaries fell apart, and that was my goal. Your Majesty, the Ashmedian ambassador is here. He's keen to negotiate the terms of truce. We've had enough of this war. What will it take to achieve peace? Is it worth pursuing peace, Marshal? The Marshal takes you aside, beyond the ambassador's earshot. The kingdom's armies are stretched to a breaking point, and Ashmead still hasn't shown their true power. We're lucky that Ashmedian citizens are demanding an end to this war. The Empire has endless manpower still in reserve. Let's not push our luck. Sounds like a matter for the council. If you value the lives of your citizens, bring this messy affair to an end. Did the kingdom sign a truce with Ashmead, and if so, on what terms? Do a swing vote in case you guys want to change your minds. I don't want to risk my life anymore. I'm broke. That's fair, honestly. You've had a pretty rough go of it. Losing the war and all your money. Ooh, I could get some money though. I mean, I'm not sure what else we need the money for, but So far we're going with Be Forgiving. Increases authority, stability, and I think that's lowering the defiance of... I'm not sure who, honestly. And raising everybody else's, I'd say. TBH, we won this war. I mean, if we take that tribute, we definitely won this war. Just saying. No peace. Welcome to the war forever. Oh man, that would be such a horrible choice, wouldn't it? I don't know who would win in that situation. Alright. So I guess you guys have decided on Be Forgiving. Your Chancellor unfurls a scroll so long you could have comfortably used it as a hammock. You and the ambassador both sign on the dotted line, and just like that, the war is over. After news of your victory spreads across the kingdom, you're a hero. Even the nobles can't deny that you did a good job. You took on the kingdom's oldest and most powerful enemy and won. But there are still whispers that you should have pressed your advantage. We gain a ton of authority. +2 stability. -2 defiance for the north, the coast, but +1 for the mark. You could have taken Ashmead's capital if the king just had a little more spine. Okay, I think that's everything. Why does it say the patricians can still rebel? They're defined as 1 now. In the season. Still have no heir. Everybody's on their last mission. Baron military is the best in the world. Oh, good. Heir. The quest for an heir is finally complete. You stand before the council holding a small child in your arms. Should I die, I ask that my crown be passed down to... The council hall is filled with nervous silence. My son, my daughter, my child. My child. The assembled nobles break out into polite applause. By designating an heir, you've cemented the stability of the kingdom. Your Majesty, may I be the first to congratulate you on the birth of your child. What is their name? Masnokinza II. Thank Morgana, Your Majesty. I'm sure little Masnokinza II will grow up to be a chip off the old block. Okay, debt collection. Council session has ended for the day. So you're quite surprised when Lord Patrician Iolith corners you in the back passage of your castle just before dusk. Greetings, Your Serene Highness. Apologies for surprising you like this, but I have an urgent matter that I thought you'd want to hear in private before I go to the council. Your wife, the Queen Consort, how can I put this? She owes me a lot of money. Gambling debts mainly. She borrowed quite a lot from me to recover some lost funds. But now it's time to collect, and she's been avoiding me. Ah, man. Oh, that's right. I have the choice of take the money and leave us alone. This is full and throw him in the dungeon. Patricians don't look too favorably on your unwarranted arrest, but a few nights in the darkest cell of the dungeon are enough to persuade Iolith that it's in his best interest to let these debts go. To release him once an agreement has been reached. He'll think twice before threatening the Queen Consort again. He's been imprisoned, and the second has joined the council. Your Greatness. The barons are completely out of control. They've started hunting in our territory, killing and stealing away our precious natural resources. Only hunting wyverns, you fool. There's nowhere else to hunt them. And you've practically got an infestation this time of year. We're doing you a favor, if anything. Your Majesty, it would probably be best if we were to nip this situation in the bud before it gets too heated. Is this the north? Yeah, let's call a vote. How would the crown mediate the hunting dispute between the chiefs and the barons? We can forbid the barons from hunting in the north, which would probably increase their defiance and lower the north. Continue to allow the barons free reign, which would increase the defiance of the chiefs and their trade, I guess? I'm not sure whose trade that would be. Or we could designate a specific wyvern week for the barons, which I could do with authority roll 85%. Let's see. What do I want here? I think I want to veto this. Not that either of you probably want that. Wyvern week every week. Not an event I've seen before. If there's anyone who wants to join, you just have to type !join and your pronoun. Oh, have we lost a patrician? Well, looks like the barons get their way today. You need to allow the barons free reign. You'll regret this, all of you. Marcher's trade has increased, and the north has mutinous defiance now. He storms off without another word. Baron Fane Welkin looks in your direction with a smug smile and nods. Okay. Yep, I think that might be game. Unless we can affect it here. Farming down for the barons, faith down for the barons, trade up for the chiefs, authority down for the kingdom, stability up or stability down. Okay, well the thing is, they also have all the money. If they're both still here. We will go ahead and start the auction. For the game, a big bet on the library for increased stability. Ooh, yeah, that was a smart play too. You did the exact amount. They cannot possibly stop it now. They just don't have the money. That's partly my fault, because I made its Kaiser wife who lose every bit of their money to Iolith. You bited the hand that fed you? This is true. And I will now pay for it. Both complete our scheme. It's RNG. It happens. The mob rises. Your Majesty, the march is suffering a terrible... Oh, sorry, I had to cough there for a second. Had to mute myself. Suffering a terrible food shortage. They've asked you to visit them and bolster the morale of their starving peasants. Very well. The barons will be delighted. War. Take the crown. GG barons. You bid a fond goodbye to your wife. Good luck, my dear. Those peasants better be grateful you're traveling such a long way to look after them. You embark on a long, perilous journey up to the march. After braving a dozen checkpoints and mud-churned roads, you reach your destination, a martyr city. The streets are dotted with starved beggars, their ribs sticking through their skin. Your Majesty, I'm so glad to see you. Come, let's lend our aid to the needy. You spend the day handing out bread to a hungry mob. As the sun sets, Baron Fane Welkin invites you to ride with them to their isolated hunting lodge. Welcome, welcome. Sorry about the trip down, Your Highness. It's always troublesome on a windy day. Can I get you a drink? No need. Suit yourself. More for me. Your northern warriors take their seats behind you, watching Baron Fane Welkin carefully. Actually, Your Grace, I had something I wanted to speak to you about alone. Tell them that your honor guard will stay put. Sorry, but I simply must insist. No getting out of the lost, I guess. Baron Fane Welkin yanks down a lever, cleverly disguised as a candlestick. A giant trapdoor swings open beneath your honor guard. They drop down into the darkness below, without even enough time to scream. Make a dash for the door. Before you can make it 5 yards, a dozen marcher soldiers burst through the door and seize you roughly, a blade pressed against your throat. It's some cartoon stuff. Yeah. It was a good plan, though. They executed beautifully. Your Grace, there's someone I want you to meet. You hear soft footsteps. A curtain parts, and you are suddenly confronted by yourself. What is the meaning of this? Wait, no, I'll go with, why? Aren't you a handsome devil? The voice is almost, but not quite, identical to your own. A little too nasal. Do you like it? Took a year of training to get the voice right. You'll never get away with this. I'm willing to roll the dice. Men? The Eastern Knights, holding you hostage, bundle you toward the door. Quick, we must make sure his body won't be discovered. The bag is stuffed over your head, and your arms tied behind your back. You're loaded onto a mule like a sack of grain. As you jolt around on the mule, you have plenty of time to contemplate your upcoming demise. It's funny, the kingdom won't even notice you're gone. Perhaps Helga will realize, but by then, it'll be too late. You'll already be dead. When the bag is whipped off your head, you find yourself standing over a mist-shrouded gorge. Far below, the white water churns and seethes. Any last words? Really should have some fencing up here. You're right. Bloody accident waiting to happen. Baron Fane Welkin takes a step back and kicks you nonchalantly off the edge. A long way down, your screams are drowned out by the thundering water. Long live the new king. Same as the old king. Being double. Nobody would ever know that the king had been replaced by an imposter. It isn't mentioned in history books. Only the barons knew. They took the secret to their graves. The chiefs abandoned their hopes for Odheld's horn, which passed into legend once more, a treasure fit only for seducing adventurers into frozen wastes where giants or hypothermia await them. The patricians attempt to buy the kingdom ended in failure. Bankruptcies were filed, Marks were scratched in secret ledgers. The risk-reward calculus wasn't favorable. Perhaps next time. Baron's doppelganger was in power enough time to name Ducarda as his heir before meeting his own unfortunate end. The Baron's grip on the crown was now secure, for now. Useful and doppelganger, that was fun. Yeah. Like I said, it's hard to win as the crown. It's not letting me continue. Okay. Oh, there it is. I actually have to press the button. Alright. 2 year, 6 month game length. Spouse was held in the north. The new successor is Queen Ducarda. Wealthiest noble is Islet II. Poorest noble is its Kaiser waifu. Next time you will win. Alright. Shall we continue the dynasty? Queen Ducarda. Unfortunately for its Kaiser waifu, he starts at a bit of a disadvantage this time. Have a good one. Go to sleep now. Have a good day. Well, thank you for stopping by. Oh. We had a very good game, did we not? I'm gonna leave you here. Midnight. Well, thank you for the follow, Ben MSP. Alright. So, looks like we're back to waiting for members to join. Alright, I followed as well. Thank you. Have a good stream. Thank you. I enjoyed the game. I was glad to finally get one of these in as the monarch. As hard as it is. We shall see if we get another one. I guess we'll go back into waiting and reading reviews of the game. Let's see, where was I on reading this? Meaningful choices. Whilst I love how quests can unfold in a number of different ways, often in ways you don't expect, it feels like the backbone parts of the story, marriage, area defining goals like meaningful choice. Description of the king's potential wives are always the same, and normally only one makes any sense to pick most of the time. Same when choosing personal bodyguard. It would be so much more interesting if they had randomized traits, both positive and negative, as some don't feel viable options anyway. Having the counts present bodyguards who can't fight but can do poetry is really disappointing, as it's not really a viable or sensible option. There has to be more variety and more randomness to it to keep it all fresh. This is one of the areas where I think you may have missed some nuance of the game, which is our fault for not making it obvious. The spouses do have random traits. They're just hidden from the player, but each generated spouse NPC has 7 different possible personality traits, 7 different possible interests, and 7 different possible secrets, each of which will change their dialogue and unlock new storylines, meaning there are over 300 variants which can pop up and make your game different each time. Also, Count's guards are perfectly competent. Just because they love gloomy poetry doesn't actually make them useless. Number 4, King's Powers. This game makes being the king extremely difficult. It's very hard to win, and rightly so. It should be difficult, but I do agree that some extra law cards or abilities would go a long way in creating a slightly better experience as the king, as it can be extremely stressful. Something like raising or lowering a stat by 1 for 1 season only at the expense of the treasury, or being able to throw a noble in jail for 1 season per game, which stops them from voting for that period, but costing the treasury money and increasing defiance, for example. Those are actually some interesting thoughts. Throwing them in jail to stop the vote, that would be kind of cool. This is another item of feedback we've heard loud and clear from multiple sources. We're going to do our best to make the Monarch's life slightly easier. We're hoping that a future update will address this concern directly. Workshop modding. This game needs workshop modding. This is the kind of game it was made for. Having the ability to allow others to create different game modes, different rule sets, maps, regions, etc. We keep a seriously healthy and thriving community for this game, for this wonderful game. Unfortunately, while we'd love to open the game to workshop modding, it's not something that's technically feasible for us in the immediate future. It would require some heavy coding, restructuring, and like I said, our team is small. We'd essentially have to focus on workshop integration to the exclusion of all other features for many months on end. Regions. Adding more regions as DLC is something I'd be happy to pay for. I'd love to have around 10 or so regions to choose from, especially in order to keep things feeling truly fresh for other playthroughs with their own style and emphasis. Thank you, that's good to know. We don't currently have plans for DLC anytime soon. It might be a possibility in the far future, and if so, a new region would definitely be top of our list. Okay. Continuing campaigns. I found absolutely no need or desire to continue a campaign after the first one concluded. Sure, there are dynasty events, but from what I played, it was essentially like playing a new game but broken. Regions keeping the same stats money after a new king is placed on the throne is either a huge advantage or disadvantage and quickly makes the game unfun. I really appreciate that events can reference things from your older game or be some sort of continuation for them, but it felt broken. It felt like starting a new game of Monopoly, but picking up from the end of the old one. It just doesn't work. It's way more fun to simply start over. I have an achievement that shows only 5% of people continue a campaign after they completed the first one. Once a king or queen is usurped, the game should end, but depending which region was victorious, they should be able to choose some sort of buff for their character the next game, like starting with 500 extra gold or being able to influence a certain type of event to show up randomly if they own the game, for example. The dynasty system is important to our vision of the game and is here to stay. But you raise some valid points and it's clear they could use some tweaking to make them right. We'll be taking a look at balancing dynasty games so they're just as fun to play as a fresh game. Overall, we're happy that your overall experience with the game was so positive. We're going to keep working on fulfilling KOTC's potential, and a big part of that is getting comprehensive feedback like this, so thank you. And I thanked them for responding. They have more ideas, but it's too long to post here. I'm adding them to the Discord suggestions under the name Smithian. I think I've actually played a game with them. I vaguely remember that name. Let's see. Click on the extended reviews. Did I check this one already? In my view, King of the Castle is the ultimate party game. Whether you stream it and play with viewers, play it with your friends on the couch. There's an incredible amount of variety in each session. The combination of different regions and how they interact with each other means that no two games are the same. Great pricing for literally endless hours of fun. QA tested a lot of games over the last 10 plus years. This game is one of the few that I love so much that I continue to play it long after my work is completed. The game generates a helpful online community too, with friendships and acted out conflict aplenty. The price is great and allows me to gift it to others too, right? Very fun with friends. I've yet to play on Twitch, but had a lot of fun dethroning my bestie and spouse. LDR overall, it's a fun game with solid design and I recommend it. But I hope the developers continue polishing it and adding new content. Otherwise, I can't envision it having much longevity. Especially if you don't have a large group of friends to play with. I played this with 3 friends and enjoyed it. It's a nicely presented game, the art style is consistent, and the user interface is iconographic, and the iconography are clear. However, I think you really need more than 4 players for this game to shine. If you have a large group of like-minded friends to play with, I think you'll have a good time. If you only have a few friends, unless the option to add bots is added, I don't know if I'd recommend this unless they all like the theme. Yep. As the king, I like the veto rule when voting on events. However, the other initial options seemed useless. As noted in other reviews, you can simply tell the other players what your preference is. It would be much more fun to have one of the other later game laws, or have the option to select from several right at the start. I think that those ones that you start with are mostly for the party game aspect of it. Not so much for the playing on Steam. But yeah, they aren't particularly useful. I understand having the new options enter play later in the game could represent the king's power and skill improving, but I'd still recommend providing more initial options. Perhaps you could also add traits to select from at the start. Go to the king's lineage. Simple things like more or less starting authority, money, ability, perhaps. I only survived as a king for 2 years and 3 months, and all this time, my primary goal or ambition was never discussed. I'm not sure if I simply didn't last long enough to trigger an event, but it would be nice for the king to have some short-term ambitions to work toward too, besides survival. Yeah, you have to have your heir first before it even matters. Unfortunately. That's just part of the game. It's not supposed to be easy for the king. As a purchaser of the game, I would really like the option to select who is king at the start, or have it randomized so that even players who don't own the game can experience both roles. That's probably actually a good point. I can see that having the same person playing as the king again and again will get old quickly. It would also be great if the nobles who dethroned the king could then start as the new ruler in the next dynasty. More options for nobles to use their money on would be fun. From what we encountered, the available options were limited to a few special events in the auction building stage. That's true. I think I'm going to take a quick break. I will be right back. Lost again, broken and weary, unable to find my way, tail in hand, dizzy and clearly unable to just let this go. I am surrendering to gravity and the unknown. Catch me, heal me, lift me back up to the sun. I choose to live. Fell again, like a baby, unable to stand on my own, tail in hand, dizzy and clearly unable to just let this go. High and surrendering to gravity and the unknown. Catch me, heal me, lift me back up to the sun. I choose to live. I choose to live. I choose to live. Catch me, heal me, lift me back up to the sun. Help me survive the bottom. Calm these hands before they snare another pill and drive another nail down another needy hole. Please release me. I am surrendering to gravity and the unknown. Catch me, heal me, lift me back up to the sun. I choose to live. I choose to live. Lost again, broken and weary, unable to find my way, tail in hand, dizzy and clearly unable to just let this go. I am surrendering to gravity and the unknown. Catch me, heal me, lift me back up to the sun. I choose to live. Alright. Guess I'll read some more of these Steam reviews while we wait. Here's a negative review. Played the game with some of my friends. The first few hours are really nice and we enjoyed ourselves a lot. However, after having a hard multiple playthroughs, we found it lacked some balance. Balance for smaller parties is quite poor. There is an imbalance in players per faction. That faction has always won in our playthroughs due to money. Also, the king is usually outplayed right from the start. We've had only one game where the king did not immediately fail due to RNG. Additionally, we were quite bothered by the fact that in 3 out of 5 times, we would encounter tasks that had already had their conditions met, resulting in an almost instant advance for the faction. That's true, it happens. Another small thing is disconnects. We've had several instances where one of us would disconnect and would be unable to join as their character, instead accidentally joining the other factions. I don't know how that's possible, I've never seen that happen. Even across multiple dynasties, you come back as the same faction, unless they're talking about whenever you're first setting up a game. And then yeah, you can definitely end up in a different faction than where you were. That's only if you weren't already in the dynasty. The developers reply here. Balancing a game for small and large groups has been an interesting challenge, and we're focused on getting it right. In playtesting, we found that if one region outnumbered the others could cooperate to negate the first region's advantage. However, we're hearing from multiple sources that this isn't the case for all groups. It can lead to frustration. In some groups of 5 or 6, so we'll be taking a look at finding ways to fix this concern. However, it's not an easy fix, so we must ask you to bear with us. The schemes are intentionally designed so that the earliest steps are easy to complete. In playtesting, we found that if the schemes were any harder, they'd never get off the ground, and it made some games much less interesting. In the early stages, think of the schemes as being more about keeping the stats at their existing level rather than changing them. The later stages of the schemes are always much more difficult for the nobles to counterbalance this. That being said, we're aware that the monarch feels underpowered at the moment. We're going to take steps to fix this in our next major update. But bear with us, as for the next few weeks we will have to concentrate on bug fixing. We're a small studio with limited resources, so all we can ask is for your patience. Like I said earlier, I have seen that where you could end up having a game-breaking bug where there were no more choices but you couldn't end the season. And they'd even scrolled in behind the flags and clicked around to make sure that they weren't missing one. Because I'd seen that happen before too, but no, that wasn't the case. There literally was no choice for them to pick on the map. Which is unfortunate, but, you know, it's still a new game. These connectivity issues sound frustrating and are another thing on our agenda improve. It seems that in a small number of situations, connections can be timed out more quickly than we designed. As with your other issues, we will be addressing this as soon as we can. Hopefully, once we've taken these steps to address your concerns, you will consider trying the game again and have a better experience. I mean, the game is still rated pretty well, but I could see they definitely do need to make some updates to it. If they aren't on the ball about keeping the game fresh, it probably will have issues. Okay, another negative review. The game has a long way to go before it's playable. The king has no power, with no ability to bribe nobles with coin or make them stick to deals. You are at their mercy, and they decide everything. The only power as king starts, there's 2 laws you can place. One is useful and lets you veto a vote. The other is useless and just lets you mark an option as you like. Something you could do already, just by telling everyone playing what you want them to vote for. Events are random, as are goals, and players can just be handed victory round after round without having to do anything for it. While the game serves up no events that allow anyone to do anything about it. That's true, I've seen that happen. It's a shame when it happens, when you have no way to interact with the current winning goal, but RNG happens. No way to hand over the king role to anyone else, so you're stuck in the least powerful and least fun position if you own the game and are playing over Discord or Twitch. Winning faction doesn't even take over at the end of the game. Some random NPC becomes the new king or queen rather than any of the players who helped to dethrone you. Randomness can be funny. If the king had some more power to interact with the players and the game allowed others to play as them, this could be a fun game, but at the moment this game is everyone having fun except the person who owns it. Developer replied, "Hi Zylo, thank you for your review. We're sorry you didn't enjoy the King of the Castle. We wanted to respond to some specific points in your review. Later in the game, winner monarchs to unlock further laws of the land and replace the less powerful ones, yeah. Include the abilities to provide players with the monarch's golden choice and 7 other laws that can change the way voting works. This gives the monarch a great deal more power, on top of their ability to tax, make decisions in events, and break ties and votes. Events are generated based on stats of the kingdom and regions, decisions made in stories and schemes the players have chosen. They are partially but not entirely random. Regions can get lucky in what events generated, but the design of the game with the laws of the land and the other 2 regions looking to beat them means that you can always compensate for this. These are both great bits of feedback and are features we'd love to have. We've considered them in the past, but they are both difficult to do. However, we'll revisit them. We're a small team, but we're working hard to make this game more enjoyable for everyone. Feedback is really appreciated. We'd love for you and your friends to give King of the Castle another spin. I played this game on stream with my community and co-streamer, and honestly, I cannot recommend this game more highly. From the background music to the art style to the community engagement and the price tag of the game, even better, only one of your friends really needs to own it, but have a $5 price tag and literally hours and hours of fun. Definitely worth it, even just for character customization for streams and multiplayer. started streaming this and played for nearly 5.5 hours. Went 2 hours over our stream time, eventually won our first game as the Crown. Community engagement was absolutely astonishing. Seeing people roleplay and play fight, argue, and battle for their houses. I will definitely be playing more of this. And we will definitely be streaming more of this. $5? I'd have easily paid $15 to $20 for this. Yeah. Okay, this review says the Giant's Finger Authority option success has the wrong "your" in it. It says you're certain nothing happened to him. Should be you are certain nothing has happened to him. It happens. Great catch. Thank you so much. With over 900k words in the game, 1 or 2 spelling mistakes were bound to sneak in. We'll get to fixing that straight away. If you spot any other errors with your eagle eyes, you let us know on our Discord. We have a feedback channel for this kind of mistake. This next review says, excellent party game meets Crusader King's Light experience. Game owners play as a monarch to a kingdom rife with problems and issues. Other players join through a website portal, not unlike the Jackbox series, take on the role of nobles representing different nations in the monarch's kingdom. The game itself is very simple. Each player has a different set of different stats with a number associated. At the beginning of each game, each player decides what their win condition will be, which is just increasing or lowering either their own stats or their monarch stats. Further their own goals and hinder the goals of rivals through the voting process. Every season there are 3 new problems that must be dealt with. Some are decisions left to the monarch to decide alone, and others are put to a vote. Every decision should be weighed against how it affects different nobles by furthering or punishing their respective goals. Helping someone succeed now could mean the leverage you need at a critical moment later on, or it could very well guarantee a victory for your enemy without you even knowing it. This creates a very playful but cutthroat environment that really makes you question your decisions at basically every junction. The game takes a while to play, but not too long that betrayal feels genuine and bitter. The game balances all this very well with wonderfully well-written flavor text for each of the events that occur in the seasons, and the artwork is excellent and colorful. Not to mention, this can handle up to 24 people at a time, and all they need to play is the ability to see the screen and a web browser. For $6.49 Canadian, this is a no-brainer for me. I already love party games, and combining that with political diplomacy brings a longer, more in-depth experience that I have been looking for. The only complaint I'd have is that this does borrow quite a bit from the board game Oath, without having quite the same depth. However, this game uses the simplicity to its advantage, and having more involved mechanics for managing your realm might muddy the waters and make it confusing for new players. Regardless, this game rules. I highly recommend it without a doubt. If what I described above sounds even remotely interesting, I would give it 2 hours with some friends and see how it plays out. Getting each player to voice their own character is also a great way to involve everyone in the story and have some laughs. Yeah, I would like to do a collab at some point with a couple of other VTubers. I do think that would be fun. I've seen a few try it like that. see, another negative review. The review is from the perspective of inviting friends to play for free through the KOTC app link, privately and not through Twitch. I bought this game and then invited friends to play through the link. People who are playing for free don't have the opportunity to customize their nobles. It's only for people who pay for the game. While the game allows you to select which regions you want in the game, the people you send the invite code to don't get to choose which region their noble is in. The game randomly selects that for you. All players have to be online at the same time. I thought as there were nobles assigned to realms, they would be able to plot without the monarch being online, but that isn't the case. It appears the realms can't form alliances with each other either, at least not for the first hour I played. Whether that becomes a possibility later on, I do not know. 3 nobles is the minimum to start the game. Any lower than that number and the game pauses. No one can continue it until the 3 nobles requirement is met. KOTC app link screen is only one screen which notifies you when it's time to vote. There is no other interaction other than voting, getting your stats up to a point where your realm can rebel to take over the crown. I thought at least in a small game consisting of a monarch and 3 nobles there would be an opportunity to interact with the invited friends betraying the nobles. Nope. All the monarch's interactions are set game's NPCs. Interactions with your invited friends only through voting. While the trailer looked fun, and the opportunity to let other people play without buying the game or needing Steam was appealing to me, it ended up not meeting my expectations. The developer responded, "Thank you for your review. We're sorry you didn't enjoy the game. We wanted to reach out and respond to some of your comments here. Players who purchase the game can customize their nobles, knowing that players would want this game to do only this. We kept the price affordable. As customizations take up server space, we feel this is fair. Our aim with this was to balance smaller games, keep regions roughly equal size, and ensure players get different experiences, different regions, each time they join a game. Allowing players to choose their own region is something we may look at in the future, update, but given the design of the game, it comes with a lot of balance challenges. And we've surveyed our community and found that the feature isn't in high demand." The alliances. Regions often form and break verbal alliances to get certain votes to pass as a part of the social aspect of the game. We haven't formalized alliance mechanics other than in the context of rebellion, because we saw this aspect working smoothly in our playtest without need for adding a specific feature. About the app. The app screen is just intended as a noble-facing way to vote and check game information such as schemes and wealth. Most of the time we expect nobles to be looking at the monarch screen, and if you played a game where this wasn't the case, we imagine it may have caused some friction. Oh, so that's all it shows in the app screen, huh? Is whenever there's a vote. I could see that being a problem. No other interaction other than voting and getting your stats up to a point where your realm can be able to take over the crown. We can't deny that voting is the core mechanic of the game, but the voting has a wide variety of applications, from schemes to successors to rebelling. In addition to voting, we have the buildings auction, which allows players to spend wealth to influence the kingdom's stats. So, when you mention there's no story with other players' characters, this isn't the case. The majority of the stories feature player characters who may have gotten unlucky in event selection, and only seen stories where NPCs play a starring role. But this isn't the case for most games. However, if voting isn't the kind of game interaction you enjoy, this likely isn't the game for you. In general, we're sorry to hear the game didn't meet your expectations. We hope you'll play again and give it another shot. If you have any specific suggestions from how we can improve, we'd love to hear it. Well, if they could only see the votes, they couldn't see the portraits and all that stuff anyway, probably. I wasn't aware that's how the app worked. Another review. Doing my best to keep everything balanced. Chat destroys me in 40 minutes by draining my treasury. 2.5 hours later, chat destroys me by all rebelling at once and waging war amongst themselves. 100 out of 10. Some of the most fun I've ever had. I'm playing this game as a noble on the developer streams for a bit now. Always a super fun time. It's like Jackbox, but about medieval royal scheming. Great writing and a very unique game for basically free. Great party game, a lot more in depth than games at a similar price point. This is an awesome social party game. Just 2 rounds, and I'm hooked. Support this developer and get this awesome game. My personally favorite game in 2022-2023. The storytelling is magnificent and the game is highly engaging. The more friends you have, the better. And you truly feel the power of the monarch when you're hosting. Throughout the story, you feel immersed and like you are truly there. The schemes are unique, art is elegant, and the music is enthralling. Anyone who reads this, I hope you find this game as glorious as I do. I enjoy the game myself. Please note I've been part of the streaming campaign for this game, and some of my footage can be seen in social media posts made on TikTok, etc. I definitely received this product for promotional purposes. With that in mind, I was asked to be involved in this game from the lead up to launch, and I leapt at the chance. It's perfect for my community. This is the game made by an amazing team of people that want to bring narration to party games, and they're absolutely smashing it. I played it repeatedly on stream with my community, and it's now a regular part of our weekly schedule going forward. If you're joining a game, you will not need to own a copy, which makes it super inclusive for our Twitch communities who just play along by typing in chat. The game will make you an avatar insert into the story. You just need to tell it what pronouns you're using. He, she, they, and off you go. I've actually seen where you don't even have to type pronouns. It will put you in the game just by typing !join. There's also a Twitch extension which helps with showing information to the player, including their faction goals to win, how much money they have, region stats like farming, etc. I've had that not work for me in one of the streams I went into. Yeah, it didn't work at all for me the whole time, even after I refreshed several times. So that's one of the glitches in the game I've seen. It's not a huge issue, because anytime you're using the money, it usually tells you, I mean, on the side, how much you have anyway, unless it's a very big game you're in, and you're not on the list. That's the only downside if that glitch happens to you. You're going to want to grab it to run your own games, party mode, or to have your customized avatar appear in the game. Mostly, so you can go, look, it's me. I've given my Baron an eye patch and a backstory about fighting in the Great Spider Wars, whilst my religious Grandy has no time for haircut and has shaved it all off. Having your name in an avatar, customized or otherwise, in-game really adds to the stories told in-game. The Dynasty feature has led to some pretty amazing endings and community lore. Both the Monarch and the Nobles. There's something daft like 800 events all as well. This is an old number now, there's even more. There's plenty of space in there for wild stories. My nobles, Twitch chat, have over several games domesticated and rode giant spiders into war, burnt down the spiders and a small village in the process, summoned a famine demon, held several secret sexy vampire parties, disturbed several haunted graves, scammed a fishfolk prince out of an island, and that's just to name a few. Really happy with the game. It's perfect for any group that enjoys mild competition, deception games, and medieval fantasy. Yeah, if you have a big enough community, it is a pretty fun game. Let's see, this next one says, game is lovely with cute art style and many options for playability and the excellent price. However, after playing a few rounds with friends, I feel I should give my thoughts on improvements. Yep, somebody says it's underpowered again. Way to hand off the monarchy. I've seen these in other reviews already. I understand these may be hard to implement, but I think these two features added, the game can become perfect instead of almost perfect. Not sure if participating on a Twitch stream. Find some friends and play it. Wait to play more, either in charge or a stream in the future. You have a large group of people to play King of the Castle with. This is a killer party game. I played this with a group of 20 to 25 people and everyone was really invested. Each game unfolds totally different, but the mechanics are simple enough for everyone to understand. Even if you're slightly belligerent like we were. Games take up a nice chunk of time without ever overstaying their welcome, about 1 to 2 hours. There are some events that happen every game which quickly become repetitive, like choosing an honor guard or spouse for a king. I'd love to see an update in the future that adds more variety. For example, allowing you to elect courtiers from among the nobles, or even starting with multiple pre-existing heirs whose succession you have to decide. Well, that's kind of part of the mechanics of the game, though. Kind of a hard thing to ask. I mean, you don't necessarily have to have the spouse to have an heir, but you do have to have an heir if you're the monarch. That's an event that just has to happen. Otherwise, you could hit your goal early on in the game and just win. Let's see. Overall, however, I still strongly recommend this, even at full price. Menu simulator for the one person who owns it, and a snooze fest for everyone else playing. That's a pretty negative review. And this game is definitely not for this person. And their response was, we've had pretty positive feedback overall, which they have. They have like 92%, I think, still. I need to purchase this game. if you want customization. Pretty worth it for $5. Recommend to have hours and hours of flawless event built-in roleplay, minimum of 4 players, but it's cool to have 2 on each faction too. We wish the devs add some more, because this has great potential. Married a fishy prince at the urging of friends. Worth it until he was assassinated. Bad. Kingdom Crown is a fantastic game where one person takes on the role of reigning monarch and must govern their kingdom and secure their successor, whilst the remaining players, as the nobles of the kingdom's distinct regions, must plot and scheme to take the monarch down and replace them with someone from their own faction. There are a huge number of hilarious, well-written stories, branching paths, which have significant consequences for the monarch and the nobles and the future of the kingdom. This game is versatile and so much fun, whether you play with friends or family through a browser or via a Twitch stream. I love how whichever version you end up playing, there are almost always role players who make up voices for their characters. So if you like D&D, this game is for you. I think I'll take another break here, and if it doesn't start filling up with people enough to start another one, I may just end it. Lost again, broken and weary, unable to find my way, tail in hand, dizzy and clearly unable to just let this go. I am surrendering to gravity and the unknown. Catch me, heal me, lift me back up to the sun. I choose to live. Fell again, like a baby, unable to stand on my own, tail in hand, dizzy and clearly unable to just let this go. High and surrendering to gravity and the unknown. Catch me, heal me, lift me back up to the sun. I choose to live. I choose to live. I choose to live. Catch me, heal me, lift me back up to the sun. Help me survive the bottom. Calm these hands before they snare another pill and drive another nail down another needy hole. Please release me. I am surrendering to gravity and the unknown. Catch me, heal me, lift me back up to the sun. I choose to live. I choose to live. Lost again, broken and weary, unable to find my way, tail in hand, dizzy and clearly unable to just let this go. I am surrendering to gravity and the unknown. Catch me, heal me, lift me back up to the sun. I choose to live. Fell again like a baby, unable to stand on my own, tail in hand, dizzy and clearly unable to just let this go. High and surrendering to gravity and the unknown. Catch me, heal me, lift me back up to the sun. I choose to live. I choose to live. I choose to live. Catch me, heal me, lift me back up to the sun. Help me survive the bottom. Calm these hands before they snare another pill and drive another nail down another needy hole. Please release me. Alright. No such luck, I guess. So, I guess we will find someone else to raid into who's playing the game and just join theirs. Just don't have a big enough community for this, so I'll have to do a collab. Get a decent game going maybe that way. Anyway, this has been Emyris Masnokinza Monoclonius, playing King of the Castle. Don't forget to like, subscribe, or follow. If you enjoy my content and want to see more of it. Again, thank you for watching, and goodbye. Everyone came around here, everyone else got sick, and watched the clock ticking slowly. Everyone knew the ending, opened a bag of tricks, and stumbled over their own. They blew minds away, sorta crippling, just like thunder. And it's gone today. Far too happy that it's on. Well, it's the end of the world. 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 Well, it's far away. Feel the hurricane twisting slowly. Now